dad was more willing to help me out. I think this because we have district volleyball in Troy tomorrow, like all freaking day, and then because they're doing it because LC's like booked. I think they might have their own thing going on tomorrow.
Right.
So then so then we have to play at like 1 o'clock, and then if we lose, we play at 3 o'clock, and if we win, we play at 5 o'clock. And so then it's like, well, if it's 5 o'clock, then there's no way I'm going to be able to get from Troy to.
At Toyota's national sales event, we don't just help you get the perfect vehicle. We're here to open new doors that lead to your road to greatness. Your journey starts at Toyota's national sales event.
Toyota, let's go places.
I decided to get vaccinated because I wanted to protect myself and my family and my customers from COVID-19. When I went to get my COVID-19 vaccine, it was an easy process, is readily available. Since I got vaccinated, I'm confident I'm protected against the COVID-19 virus. My life has returned to business as usual.
The injuries look like those seen in people exposed to poisons like mustard gas.
That's how doctors are describing what they see in the lungs of vapors.
The chemicals can essentially burn your lungs. Find the truth at BehindTheHaze.com.
Banking. Maybe you enjoy the person-to-person attention you get going to your bank. Maybe you enjoy the convenience of banking from home sweet home. Or maybe you like the flexibility of paying your bills, applying for a loan, or talking to your personal banking person from wherever fits your fancy. Then definitely, you should bank at Mountain West Bank. Member FDIC. The easy, convenient, any way you want to bank.
I'm Dr. Christine Hahn. I'm an infectious disease doctor, and I'm Idaho's medical director for public health. It's my mission to keep our communities healthy and safe. That's why I believe every Idahoan should get their COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine's been tested. It's proving to be very safe, and it's the most effective tool we have to stop the spread.
Walk into a pharmacy or visit covidvaccine.idaho.gov to find your free COVID-19 vaccine.
A hit in the morning, another between class, after school, and more before bed. Vaping sucks you in quick. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems everyone's talking about. That's why thousands of teens are ready to take back their life their own way with My Life, My Quit. When you sign up with us, you'll get a free and simple quit plan that makes it easier to stop vaping. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Somebody's already hurt. Well, as fate would have it, our trainer is also the EMT guys talk. Have you done a thing with
Justin?
No, I'm sorry. With Baney? Not Baney.
Oh, not this week.
Okay.
Work kept conflicting, and then Thursday I was set to do it with him at 5, but then something came up for him. So
yeah.
senior night stuff will probably only take, what, a couple minutes?
Yeah, Caldwell's generally pretty smooth about it. He doesn't like it when it stretches and stretches.
Good. Well, I applied for the Logos basketball coaching position.
Yeah? That's awesome.
Don't know if I'll get it, but I've wanted to get back into coaching for a while now and thought do it in town where I live.
Yeah, real. And that way, there's not a lot of. I don't know what their non-leaguers are like, but that's kind of a central located. I mean, Genesee, Troy, Potlatch. I mean, those are nothing drives.
Right.
I mean, by comparison. What is it still open? I don't mean that main, but
I think so.
Huh.
I maybe not. The varsity job was open last I heard, so I applied for that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, awesome.
Yeah. If it's not, I probably won't, just because all that work for lower level competition just doesn't really excite me or interest me.
Yeah.
And I'm already pretty busy with cross politic, but
yeah,
I thought, geez, well, I love coaching basketball.
Right.
Could be fun. It's only $800 too for the whole season, so.
$800? Wowzer.
Last I heard, at least.
Yeah. Huh. Well.
Which is more than the last time I coached at my high school I went to. It was $300 for the season.
Oh yeah. See, you made more then.
Yeah. Moving up.
That's right. So it looks like linebackers are going to be, because they're linebacker groups right here. So 1 and 20 are their linebackers.
Hayden Hibbard.
Yep, you had him marked.
Yep. Should have listened to me. Just
nope, right? Yeah. Well, a chunk of it, too, is you get up here. And I'm all right getting up here, sort of. And then everybody gets in the lower level below you and starts rocking, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah. I don't want to be up here the night it decides, all right, timber.
Yeah. Luckily, this was probably made with old wood that was actually sturdy and strong.
Mm-hmm. Not like today.
Yeah. Looks like we're done. No, they're still trying to get their offensive team here, which should be happening in just a second.
I don't think one of the refs will be making his way up here. I don't blame him. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need it.
By the time he gets up there, it's going to be.
And the game's over. they want.
Yeah.
So, and then she and I have been texting pretty regularly ever since. So it's just kind of like, I can't read you.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
12:33 and 9.
Interesting O-line.
21's the other. Colton McElroy.
Oh, there goes somebody up the ladder.
Well, Hassels from 20's built like a ball of muscle.
I know.
Not very big.
What do you think? 150, 200 yards tonight? 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Probably be the IdahoSports.com player of the game.
See, I think we're going to Caden Hibbard. I think you're going to key in on him so much. I think it frees up the other one. I mean, it's kind of like salt and pepper, right?
Thunder and lightning.
Thunder and lightning.
Like Reggie Bush and Lendale White.
Oh, man.
I just watched 30 for 30 on USC.
Okay.
Back when they were in their 30-some-plus game win streak.
Yeah. Back when it was illegal to pay your players.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh.
I think SMU's probably the one team that wishes they could have a giant do-over.
Right. Well, I'm shocked the U of Miami didn't get knocked for anything.
Yeah.
Talk about some college powerhouses that really have not been able to get back to their former glory, the U and USC.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting look, and I don't know how exactly to read that, but it's really one of those how they slipped completely off the map and how Alabama, they had a little hiccup, but they're back.
Right.
In a big monster way.
Yeah. To the point where they look like Prairie.
Yes. Well, and then you have freaking Texas. How can Texas not be beating the daylights out of everybody?
Right.
Hell, they can't even beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma spots them a 14-point lead.
Yeah.
So I'm here to tell you, that game probably ruined me for the rest of my life.
You were there, weren't you?
Yeah. It's the most incredible thing I'm probably ever going to see in a sporting event. Especially late in the game where, like, it's every play, both Oklahoma and Texas, is a knockout blow. Like, you think, oh, crap, that's it. Oh, no, it's
now
not.
we just did it. Man, that was great.
Yeah, it was crazy. Totally
Were
crazy.
you in the crowd for that, or?
Yeah, yep. In the crowd, up in the kind of lower mid 200 level, or 100 is what they call it, but which was kind of perfect. Kind of the same spot we're in now, only on the other 45.
Right.
So you had that experience of being in the color, but you're not in the color. You kind of have the crossover, and
right.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Player of the game was probably the Fox. Once the Fox, and I don't know if you watched it, but a fox, like a literal
I saw
red
that.
fox,
Yeah.
runs out on the field, and after that, the game's different. Like
the lucky fox.
Which I don't know if that's Caleb Williams, which is the new quarterback at Oklahoma's spirit animal or what, but.
So is he the starter going forward?
God, I hope so.
That Rattler.
Everything was so electric. Everything was so electric.
Right.
When he did his stuff. It was crazy. I mean, 4th and 1, for a 65-yard touchdown.
Right.
And outruns the defender.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that, and I don't like your guys' former or current starter, whoever he is.
Spencer Rattler is just a punk.
Douchebag.
Yeah.
In the, I told you in that QB1 series, I watched him and I thought, what a jerk.
Oh, even as an Oklahoma fan, I'm thinking that.
He and Tay Bartlett.
Yeah, something like that.
He went to Ohio State. He was such a schmuck. He's Spencer Rattler times 10.
And we were in that zone, I was just saying. So I have a Texas fan to my left, and I thought, oh boy, this could be, especially when we're down 14-0. And he, he's a pretty good dude. Like, well, I'm glad you spotted us a couple points, so that way it'll be a little better game and whatever. And it gets to be late in the game, and he's like, hey, put Rattler back in. It was great. Which was kind of one of those, like, nobody got overly serious about it, so it didn't, like, get too weird where we were.
Right.
I mean, you could see some other sections that got a little wild.
A little rowdy, yeah.
And then because I wanted to get drunk on football, went to the Giants the next day.
Right.
Barkley gets beat up, Jones gets a concussion.
Yeah.
I only got told to F off twice.
Oh, nice. I swear, the NFL, I can't stand NFL fans.
Oh, yeah.
Drunk, overgrown children.
Yeah.
College fans are it's just a much lighter environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Like WSU versus UW basketball game. They were they hated each other, but it was fun more than anything.
For sure. Well, yeah, it seems more pure. Like, all the extra money goes to the programs for the most part versus in some jackass's pocket that.
And those jerk players.
Oh, yeah.
Who just think they're the greatest things since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Our next two want to be introduced together, Alexis Gunter and Jade Gunter. Their parents are Amber and Doug
Let's
Gunter.
go to the pregame.
And while they come out, they want to
Hibbard.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another IdahoSports.com broadcast brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Tonight, we bring you a matchup from in the Palouse. It's game night on the Palouse, as that graphic there tells you. We are here in Genesee, Idaho, as the Genesee Bulldogs prepare to take on the visiting and powerhouse Prairie Pirates. In the booth tonight, myself, Garrison Hardy, and my co-host, the coach, Jason Hansen. Jason, this is familiar territory for you.
This is the old stomping grounds against an old opponent of these have been some really good battles in the past that have gone the distance. Luckily, everybody who's still listening stayed patient with us because we had quite an extravaganza of pregame stuff as well as a junior high game before. So, Coach House's Trim's crew over there is plenty warmed up and raring to go over there.
Absolutely. For those of you just joining us or finally hearing some updates or voices coming through, we had a fifth quarter of a junior high game that was going on, and then right after that we had the senior night festivities take place, and now we're about ready to get some football going as the Genesee starting lineup is announced. And speaking of which, let's talk about these two teams coming into tonight. Only one loss between them, Jason, and that's on Genesee's side. They come into this game with a record of 5-1. What do you like about Genesee thus far this season?
Well, after a coaching change, we have Justin Podrabski as our new coach. After Schnebley did a nice job there for the year he was here, and he has definitely got those guys rocking and rolling. It's a Genesee Colton team again. Even in the loss against Lapwai, they still scored 36 points, so there's lots of points going to be scored for the Bulldogs if they hope to contend with Prairie, who's always a point powerhouse.
I was just going to say, speaking of lots of points, Prairie, the lowest amount of points they've scored this game were the opening 2 weeks, where they both put up 48 on each team and only gave up 14 in each of those games as well. You're looking over at Prairie. This is the powerhouse of the White Pine League, and that continues, especially with a dominant victory over what many considered to be a team that could unseat Prairie this year, Lapway. They beat them last week 58-26. That's got to give them some confidence coming into this game.
Without a doubt. And I think Coach Alstrom, 13 years of doing this and being assistant a couple of years in there as well, just the fact that he knows he's going to get everybody's best shot. And I think that he's got the situation, he's got the program exactly where he wants it. Just like Nick Saban would say, bring your best shot because that's only going to make us better. They do have a game next week against Troy, but this is really for their seeding. If they want to be a number 1 seed in the state, they got to win this game and then get ready for the weeks ahead. And if they get that number 1 seed, they're able to sit out a week, and that allows them to rest up and get deeper into the playoffs.
Now, both these teams have to have excellent players to be looking at a combined 11-1 record at this point in time. Jason, let's go back to Prairie. Let's just keep it with the Pirates. Who are some players that you think we're going to be calling a lot tonight?
Well, if you've been around the White Pine League, there's some names that you just keep hearing over and over and over, and there's going to be a couple of them that sound like coaches' kids, where you got Brody Hasselstrom, who's a ball of muscle, and he's going to bring it on offense and defense, and everybody's coming with him. Hayden Hibbert is somebody at the linebacker and running back spot. They share it in the backfield, share it on defense. And then Lane Shoemaker is going to do a lot of damage there as quarterback, but their offensive line looks solid from up here.
Absolutely. So that's the Prairie Pirates, folks, and stay tuned to see which ones we call. Let's go over to Genesee side. This is an experienced group. I mean, that senior night took quite some time.
Yeah, it felt like a half hour, and that's for sure. But their quarterback is a junior, so Angus Jordan is going to be somebody who's going to be a spark plug for their offense, and he's going to kind of set the standard. One of his favorite targets is going to be Cy Wareham. Jack Johnson is also going to be a favorite target from both the backfield and as a running back, as well as his brother, Angus's brother, Wyatt, to be a running back as well. So it's going to be interesting. Those offense and defensive lines are going to be interesting to see how they clash and battle and who can keep the other one out of the game.
So the stage is set. The 6-0 Prairie Pirates steamrolling through the White Pine League once again come tonight to take on the Genesee Bulldogs, who come entering this game at 5-1. Though Genesee's lone loss was to the Lapway Wildcats, where they, like Jason mentioned, still put up 36 points in that game. So we could have a lot of points on the board tonight as Cy Wareham is set to kick this one off. We got 2 Pirates back deep to receive. And this one is sent into the Genesee night sky as it is taking at the 10. It's taken uncleanly, by the way, but it's still picked up nonetheless by that's number 8, Wyatt Ross, who tries to get to the far side of the field, and he's brought down by a boatload of blue shirts at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, he kind of lost it in the night sky, but he was able to pick it up and get a couple yards. We already saw that there's just a little bit of dew on the grass, and so it'll be interesting to see what footing is like as the game continues.
So Prairie is going to come out in their traditional I formation. Genesee comes out with 4 down linemen and then 4 backers straight across the formation. Containment is going to be key for Genesee tonight.
Yeah, you got to tackle them before they get going.
1st and 10, ball on the 20-yard line. And they're going to fake the handoff to the running back out of the backfield. They throw it deep over the top. It's caught by Wyatt Ross.
And that was a heck of a catch. Not only did he high point the ball, but really kind of secured it up high and brought it down one-handed and had the strength to keep it with a quick, fast tackle.
So first play from scrimmage, and they've already ripped off a 25-yard pass connection here. Ball is now spotted at the 47-yard line. 1st and 10. In the backfield is the lone back, number 20, Brody Hasselstrom. We'll be calling his name a lot tonight, and he gets it on the option here. He tries to get to the outside, but he's brought down. Oh, correction, he stays on his feet and gets close to a 1st down. Brody Hasselstrom already showing his strength.
Yeah, he comes out there and takes on a whole pack of Bulldogs. The first 2 looked like they had him secured, and then he was able to shrug those off, and off he uses good footwork, uses his strength and his speed, and big old 8-yard gain.
And Brody Hasselstrom with numerous college offers, one of them from the College of Idaho, and he took on a visit there. And this one is a little bubble pass over to number 1, Tayton Hibbert, but he is cut down in the backfield by Cy Wareham.
Yeah, as much as we're talking about Prairie's offense, Genesee's defense really kind of starting to settle in here real quick with an early 3rd down that's going to be super important.
So 3rd and 3. Ball is on the 47-yard line. Offset I. They go to hand this one to Hibbert up the middle. He breaks one tackle. He's into the open. He spins away from another, and he's finally brought down inside the 30 for a Prairie first down.
Yeah, great play design there by Coach Hasselstrom. He uses his son as a distraction. They get the quick little pull inside Hibbert, north-south. None of this speed stuff. Let's just get a lot of power going forward.
And we're waiting for a Genesee player there to tie the cleat up. Official timeout. Prairie coming out very strong in this opening drive with just over a minute and a half gone in this game. I formation once again. They're going to hand it off to Hasselstrom. Hasselstrom tries to bounce it outside, but the contain is there, and he's brought down for a loss of yards on that one. Good response there from the Bulldogs.
Yeah, the defensive end, Cole Rebold, does a nice job. Fights off the block, takes on Hasselstrom pretty much by himself to start, and then he gets some help eventually, and this is the first loss they've had on offense.
That's a loss of 5 on that one, so 2nd and 15 after the play. Ball spotted at the 31-yard line. Line to gain is inside the 20 at the 16-yard line. I formation here. Bulldogs showing pressure off the edge. Pitch to the right side. Hasselstrom cuts inside and gets almost all the way back to the line to gain. And that's going to be close to the first down marker.
Yeah, Hibbert did a nice job, his lead block, clearing out some Bulldogs there. Eventually they do get him there. Jack Johnson comes from his linebacker spot, but the damage was done and got that big second down to make this manageable 3rd.
It's going to be 3rd and 2 now. Genesee showing pressure off the edges. Man-to-man defense being shown here. Quarterback back to pass. He's going to roll to his left. Looks, he's going to keep it himself now, tucks it and runs, and he's tackled inside the 10-yard line. The tackle made by Teak Wareham, and that was Lane Shoemaker on the run.
Yeah, Shoemaker did a nice job initially, forwarding off Jackson Zenner from his defensive end spot. Looked like we were going to see a sack, but unfortunately for the Bulldogs, big game by Prairie.
So now 1st and goal. Hasselstrom, the lone back, takes it up the middle, bounces off one tackler, runs into his own teammate there, and he stood up. Finally brought down. A gain of a couple there, maybe get a little bit closer to the goal line.
Yeah, Bulldogs will take it. They just need a massive humanity in front of him, and that was a nice job of just keeping him contained and not letting him blast through everybody.
So 2nd and goal. Ball on the 6. 8:40 to go. Hasselstrom takes it up the middle once again. This time he dances into the end zone for a touchdown. Prairie strikes first.
Yeah, that was a great job by the offensive line there of Prairie. Just kind of cleaning everybody out. That would be Noah Beller, Shane Hansen, and Jess Cronin, who did a nice job of opening a giant hole there up in the middle.
So once again, rare that you see a field goal in 8-man football, so we're going to see a 2-point conversion here. They fake it to Hibbert, pitch it to Hasselstrom on the outside, and he spins into the end zone for 2.
The old school triple option there where they get Hibbert up the middle. They get that contained. Shoemaker has the ball, and then eventually they flip it out there for the last man, and then all of a sudden you're one-on-one versus Hasselstrom. I think we do have a penalty on this. It might have been a horse collar. I mean, you're just grabbing for anything you possibly can get, and I think they got him down from behind, which it's going to be a penalty on the kickoff.
It's always tough with Hasselstrom, and that'll make Genesee's march on offense much tougher. So on that drive, Jason, Genesee had numerous opportunities to get a stop on 3rd down, and it just wasn't meant to be. Prairie was just finding ways to keep the drive alive.
Yeah, and one of those where if they could get a couple of those corrected and get that all-important 4th down, which I'm not sure we've seen one yet, that if you could just do enough to make them punt, that would bode well for what you're hoping to do. That being said, now you gotta match them. Prairie's going to score. They've been able to score a lot of points. Genesee has, so Podrabski's crew is going to need to score points on this possession right off the bat. There's no waiting around to see what happens.
And we got a brief advertisement here from Hometown Auto and Ag. For close to 30 years, Hometown Auto and Ag Service in Cottonwood has been serving their community with pride and excellence. Hometown can take care of almost anything, like power steering and transmission flushes, brakes, exhaust, lube, and oil changes. Or even if you just need your headlight realigned, their fast, friendly, certified mechanics will get you back on the road in no time. Swing into Hometown Auto and Ag Service at 412 South 1st Street in Cottonwood the next time your truck needs a little TLC. Go Pirates! And thank you for our sponsors there. Reach out to Catherine Gowans, our sales manager at IdahoSports.com. You can reach her at Catherine at IdahoSports.com. So, Genesee gets a crack at it now, and back deep to receive is number 5, Cy Wareham, and number 22, Jack Johnson, both seniors. Let's see if what impact they're able to make here as Prairie gets to kick it a little bit closer to Genesee territory. And the ball is picked up and ran out of bounds at the 12-yard line. And smart play there from Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson just pretty much needed to do what he had to do because of the penalty. They moved the kick way up there on the 45, so you're starting with a weird field anyway. And they were going to be down on him quick, so just secure the ball, get out of bounds, and start your offense.
And they're going to do so with 78 yards of field in front of them. 8:38 to go here in quarter number 1 as Genesee comes out in the shotgun set. And at quarterback, number 4, Angus Jordan. He's got 2 backs in the backfield next to him. Jordan flings it out to the far side of the field, and it is incomplete. Cy Wareham, the intended target. That was kind of at knee level there.
Yeah, those defensive guys are coming at you fast. Jordan just has to flip it out there quick. Wareham tries to dig it up out of the dirt, but it falls for an incompletion. He almost scooped it up high enough the defender might ran over there, but Bulldogs will be happy with 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10, ball on the 12. Shotgun set once again. 2 receivers in the set, 2 backs in the backfield. This time they're going to hand it right up the middle, but there's no blocking whatsoever to speak of, and he is brought down in the backfield by a host of Pirates.
Yeah, we talked about that offensive defensive line. Yeah, there was a number of white shirts, some visitors from Prairie that are in the backfield quick, so they're going to need to fix that very soon, especially if you want to pass or run. You can't have the defenders in your backfield.
Absolutely not, and as we now head towards 8 minutes, 3rd and 11, Genesee's first 3rd down chance of the night. They'll come out with 3 receivers in the set. Johnson, the running back in the backfield, next to Jordan. Jordan takes the snap, drops back, surveying the field. He's being pressured already. Has to roll to his right. Looks downfield, flings it deep over the top, and it's batted away. Excellent coverage there from number 8, Wyatt Ross of the Pirates.
Yeah, Ross was more of the offensive player in that situation, even though Bartos, number 12 from Genesee, was the one who had to knock it away. Jordan did a nice job of getting himself outside from all of that heavy pressure from the defensive line. They even sent Hasselstrom at him. He threw it up there for maybe a 1st down, but it almost looked like it was going to be a pick. So here comes that 4th down for Genesee.
4th and 11, deep in Genesee territory. So this is going to be good field position no matter what for Prairie. Hasselstrom deep to receive. It's an end-over-end kick. Bounces right towards Hasselstrom, who now has a chance to do some damage. He's at the 40. Tries to get to the outside. Inside the 35. At the 30. And he's pushed out by a couple of Bulldogs on the far side and at just inside the 30-yard line. So once again, great field position for the Pirates.
Yeah, nice job there by Grant Wolf, one of the Colton kids that plays for Genesee. They kind of showed up. We used to talk a long time about how you had to show up together, that the outside guys needed to get there, because in that case, Jack Johnson's there a little early, and that allows Grant Wolf to have to do most of the damage by himself. So here we are, offense from Prairie on a short field.
With only 29 yards of green in front of them for the goal line. I-formation look here. Genesee showing pressure. They're going to hand it off to Hibbert up the middle. He's only got 1 man to beat. He does. He's on the outside. 10-5. Touchdown, Tayden Hibbert. And the Pirates score on 1 play.
Yeah, and that's the tough part about Hasselstrom. You talk about his power, his speed. They use him in about 50 different ways, and then Hibbert stings you because you had all eyes on number 20. So nice job there again by Prairie. Play call as well as their offense, just kind of opening a big hole.
14-0, just like that, and they come in, try to make it 16. A play action pass here. It's open over the top, and it's good for 2. And I can't make the number out. That looks like number 21, Colton McElroy, who made the 2-point conversion, and that makes it 16-0.
Yeah, and they ran it off a little bit of a play fake, which means that the running backs pretend like they have the ball. So you've been ran on. Everybody comes up to get that all covered up. The cornerbacks are helping you, and then come to find out they didn't have the ball, and the tight end is over there by himself underneath the night sky.
Speaking of the night sky, Genesee, easily one of the coldest fields in all of Idaho. I kid you not. Fortunately, tonight there is not much breeze affecting us here, and we're up top in this booth in the midst of the elements. It's tough sledding, Jason.
It is, and that's why I brought the heater. Way back in the old days, I used to wear shorts on the sidelines, wanted to stay in the game. Now I'm old and cold, and I brought the heater. But like you said, there's no breeze up here. Speaking of getting things going, though, the Bulldogs are going to need to get some offensive momentum here really quick. They were pretty much a 3-and-out to start with. They tried a little bit of this, a little bit of that. They're going to have to settle into something quick, and they don't have a lot of time to scratch around on the playbook to get something going.
That's right. It's 16-0 already. Just a few plays of offense for Genesee. Not much rhythm going. And this time they don't have to worry about the short field, however, so we'll see if they're maybe able to get some more breathing room here. Here's the kick. It's kicked over to Jack Johnson, the running back, who has to chase it down, but he's going to lets this ball bounce out of bounds for a penalty. It looked as though he was going to pick it up, but then he saw, there's the sideline.
Yeah, that was a crazy kick. It kind of knuckleball of sorts, kind of rolling, bouncing, and Jack Johnson showing he's a senior over there. He's running the sidelines. He gets to the tick marks and doesn't pick it up. Like you said, now they either get the yardage to the 35 or they can force them to kick again, which looks like that's what they're going to do because everybody's getting lined back up, which should give them a little bit better field position. Thank you. There we are. It must be getting cold. I'm frozen.
That's right.
So that I like the call here by the Bulldogs trying to get the best field position on this drive you can.
It's a couple of athletes back deep to receive for Genesee in Cy Wareham and Jack Johnson. So there's no question here that they can get some positive yardage on this return. And here's the kick once again from the Pirates. And it's going to be another knuckleball, and this one's blown dead as well.
And it's an offsides by the kickoff team, so they will be moving back another 5. So, slowly but surely, Coach Podrabski's got his guys playing cool hand. Luke over here, arms crossed, thinking, well, I was on a practice squad in the NFL. I've seen it all. I'm going to keep pushing them back and see if pretty soon we're over by the senior night barbecue, and we'll get the ball at midfield. Who knows?
This is excellent turn of events here for the Bulldogs, who are looking to get back into this game down by a couple of scores early on. And, Jason, that's always got to be a little demoralizing to be down a couple of scores to a team as storied as Prairie.
True, very true. But at the same time, you got to keep selling your guys on you have weapons, you have weapons. We just got to respond.
And there's kick number 3, third time's the charm here as they get it to Cy Wareham, who takes it. And he is brought down just inside the 45-yard line, 44-yard line, we'll call it. And that's where Genesee will take over. Much better field position this time.
Yeah, all those penalties paid off for Genesee. Cy showed his experience, got what he could out of it. Not too many twists and turns and then fumble, but just got himself in a good position here near midfield. And Genesee has an opportunity to dig in.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 44-yard line for the Bulldogs as they'll come out with 2 wide receivers on the set, 3 offensive linemen, and then 2 backs in the backfield. That's number 22, Jack Johnson. We've called his name a couple of times. And Teak Wareham, the brother of Cy Wareham. Brothers, that's something that Prairie's used to as well. This is a family affair. 3 down linemen for the Pirates and 3 backers over the top. Jordan throws it out to the side. It's intercepted. Number 2, Lane Shoemaker, the fellow quarterback, picked off the other quarterback, Angus Jordan, and takes it for 6.
Yeah, that's rough sledding right there. They had that sniffed out pretty quick. It was well blocked initially. It looked like the pressure was coming late, and that must have taken his eyes off his target, and the white shirt was in the middle, and really one of those where, again, Prairie has athletes at every position, and they're showing it on every play.
22-0. Genesee has had 4 total plays. And now Prairie for the 2-point conversion. And they take the snap, pitch it to Hasselstrom to the left side, powers his way in, and it's for 2. And it's 24-0 in favor of the Pirates. 7:15 to go in the first quarter, Jason. Genesee trails 24-0. If you're Justin Podrabski, what are you telling your guys?
Well, 1, I'm really tall, but 2, again, just that aspect. Sometimes you've built your kids up, they're in this big moment, and sometimes the cards just aren't in your favor early on. It doesn't mean you can't rebuild it and kind of get some momentum for late in the game, but really it's just like you said. They got to get on offense and stay on offense and get a drive going, get some positive yards, build some momentum on offense, and don't worry about what the scoreboard is at this point. And Coach Podrabski's crew has been through this. Even though they're a new crew together, this is Justin's first year as a head coach here, but he's built a relationship with these guys with basketball assistant coach, baseball assistant coach, so he knows his guys, and his guys are going to respond. So that being said, Coach Hasselstrom's crew, this is the last circled event before the playoffs, which we just mentioned, and so it's one of those where they're going to want to flex a little muscle. This is 1 versus 2 in the White Pine League at this point, given the schedule, so it's really one of those where they're going to want to bring some thunder as well.
Yeah, this is Genesee. This is a 5-1 Genesee team, folks. These are guys are no slouches, and Prairie has shown off their muscles here as they kick it to Cy Wareham, who takes it inside the 20. Tries to get to the outside, comes back all the way to the near side of the field, hit hard by Tayden Hibbert, and then driven into the ground by a couple more Pirates there.
Yeah, and it's going to need to be those sustaining the blocks. It looks like initially it's blocked well. Cy starts his approach towards getting into the defense, and then it kind of looked like a number of the white shirts kind of broke free, and so it's going to be important for them to keep blocking on the Genesee side.
7:06 to go, 24-0. Ball on the 25 is where Genesee will start this one. 2 receivers on the set, 2 backs in the backfield, 6 in the box for Prairie. They're daring Genesee to throw it as they hand it off to Jack Johnson up the middle, and he gets 5 yards there. A good, solid play to start things out for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and that's the kind of play that you just need to keep building and sustaining off of, where he was really just one extra little move or push to get even more. There was nobody there, like you said, in 8-man football. If you're 6 in the box and everybody's manned up, you get past the 6, it's just a track meet. So that's the kind of play that Justin Podrabski's looking for.
Again, 2 receivers in the set, 4 down linemen for the Bulldogs this time as they snap it to Jordan, who hands it to Johnson. JJ in the backfield, but this time Johnson's only able to get a couple. Good tackle there from that front 4 of the Pirates.
Yeah, we're not related, but Shane Hansen put the whooping on offensive line there by himself. He kind of fought off both guards and the center and made the tackle right there in the hole. So that's the kind of stuff that Prairie's used to doing, and they showed some muscle right there.
3rd and 6. 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Ball on the 29-yard line. Jordan takes the snap, looks for the slant across the middle, and it is incomplete. Some miscommunication there. It looked like the receiver, Nolan Bartos, may have stopped on that route a little bit.
Yeah, and that the defensive line was coming quick, so that just that whole the quarterback from Genesee, Angus Jordan, is just going to need to settle in a little bit. You know it's coming, but you got to settle in a little bit and buy yourself just a smidge more time because of these all-important 3rd and downs, 2nd downs, because now we're already at 4th down, pushed back near your goal line, and looks like we might be going for it.
4th and 6, ball on the 29, down by 24 points here in the first quarter, and it does appear they're going for it. And that's not going to do any favors for the Bulldogs as Cy Wareham hit with a false start. And that's going to back them up 5, make it 4th and 11. And a ball on the 24-yard line, and now got a decision to make here.
Yeah, and Coach might change his mind here. I like the call by Podrabski because you got to make a play here. Hasselstrom's crew from Prairie just kind of lined up and knew what was coming. And, this 4th and 12 is going to force you to punt.
Back deep to receive is the ever-dangerous Brody Hasselstrom. Punting for the Bulldogs is Cy Wareham, rugby style, and this one's not a nice spiral to it. Bounces inside the 40 at the 35, and it's covered up by Genesee before Hasselstrom can do anything with it. Great punt there from Cy Wareham.
Yeah, nice job by Cy. You get all rattled up, and, it's not going your way, but he just settled in. Nice punt, got the distance on it, and then that time we talked about the defenders showing up together in pairs, and that time Nolan Bartos and Jack Johnson show up, and there is no return. So you don't really want to give Hasselstrom an extra touch right there. And now defense is going to need to settle in. And, they've had plays where they've been successful. You just need to string 3 or 4 of them together.
Pirates come out with a single back in the backfield, and they're going to fake it this time. And it's a rollout play-action look here for the Pirates. Shoemaker throws it high, and it's incomplete. The intended target was Colton McElroy, and that was kind of a dangerous throw there.
It was. He looked like he could have probably ran for 6 or 8 yards on that situation, but he wanted to throw it. That was the play design. But then the defenders caused a little pressure on the front end where the quarterback was, and then on the defensive side, Cy Wareham was closer to the ball and thinking, man, if I was just a step slower instead of faster, I might have caught that.
So shotgun look here from the Pirates. First time on the night, usually lining up in that I formation as Hibbert goes in motion from the near side of the field. Tries to get to the far side on a sweep. pushes off with a stout stiff arm there. Picks up a gain of 5, and that's going to make it 3rd and manageable.
Yeah, but at the same time, Genesee's going to need to dig the cleats in here. The defensive end, Cole Rebold did a nice job there, number 11, and then everybody filled it up. Jack Johnson was there, as well as the Wyatt Jordan from his linebacker spot. So it's really one of those where this is the time you got to rally, Blue Shirts.
3rd and 5. They're going to run it. Hasselstrom bottled up and brought down at the 40. Well short of the first down as Cy Wareham takes him down in the backfield.
Yeah, we talked about how you got to show up in pairs and groups and whatever. And Cy Wareham, a gamer right there, gets the solo tackle, which we haven't seen one of those, and puts his team in a great position to get the ball back because it looks like Prairie's going for it. Everybody's looking at their risk coach here. They got a play they like in this situation. Genesee's going to need to dig in.
4th and 5. Ball on the 39-yard line. Genesee's first chance to maybe cut their way back into this game. It's a slant route. It's caught, and it's a first down and more. Ross gets to the far side of the field, and he's brought down inside the 40 at the 35-yard line. Big first down conversion there for the Pirates.
Yeah, nice job by Cy Wareham there, making sure he saved the touchdown. And that's the deadly part of it. You get the running back stop. You get the solo tackle you're looking for. Shoemaker is rushed. And then you forgot about the receivers and then running free. So that's one of those rough ones that now it's Prairie first down. Genesee's going to have to dig in and do it all over again.
1st and 10, ball on the 33, and it's a fumble, and it's nearly picked up there. Excuse me. Jack Johnson came sprinting in from the second level and almost had a chance at it, but excellent job there from Lane Shoemaker to fall on it.
Yeah, and it looks like that 4-man front from Genesee getting a little pressure there. That's number 50, Colby Mahalik. He's a senior, as well as Jackson Murley from Colton. Genesee getting a little pressure, causing the offensive lineman to scurry around a little bit.
And a play action bomb down the middle, and it's caught by Wyatt Ross. Another touchdown for him, his 2nd of the day. And now the Pirates are up 30.
And there it is again. You get a little momentum. You get that stuff that you're looking for going, and then one of the tight ends catches the ball over top of you.
30-0 in the first quarter. 3:49 to go, and this is a 5-1 Genesee Bulldog team that finds themselves in a spot they haven't been this season. And the 2-point conversion's batted down by Cy Wareham there, so some consolation there. They don't give up the 2 and head to the sideline.
That's right, and you can't return the ball. Even it looked like it was close to a pick. You can't return the ball in high school football, so it wasn't really going to go anywhere. But anyway, at least they got a little defensive momentum. Because the Blue Shirts over here look a little demoralized. They look like they were nearly where they wanted to be. They forced that 4th down we were talking about. And then Ross, we hadn't mentioned his name. We mentioned it in the pregame. And then all of a sudden Ross starts doing some damage. And Shoemaker's finding them all over the place, running deep, running crossers. And then they end up with a score anyway.
And Jason, I think it's probably time to break out the heater, brought to you by Presto. At least that's what the brand says here.
Actually, this is brought to you by your dad, who I stole it out of his room. So,
thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I don't know where we'll set this up, but in any case, here, I'll let you handle that. You're supposed to be the camera guy. I got to give you something to do here. It's an audio only.
That's right.
So it's 3:49, folks. 30-0 in favor of Prairie. And Genesee needs to find some answers here as Cy Wareham and Jack Johnson are once again back deep to receive. Ready to kick it for Prairie. That looks to be number 11, Evan Schwartz, the senior offensive and defensive lineman. Oh, correction. That's number 12, Shane Hansen, Jason's son.
Hansen set the kickoff for the Pirates. Wareham.
Kidding, for those of you just joining us. No relation. Hansen sends it deep. And it skips by Wareham inside the 10. He's going to have to take this from a tough position. He's at the 15 and brought down inside the 20. Man, Shane Hansen has been giving the Bulldogs trouble all night.
Yeah, we talk all the time about how important special teams are, but that's one of those where it looked like there was a lot of possibility on that one, but the kick got a little bit away from Cy Wareham. He chases it way down there. Is it going in the end zone? It's not going in the end zone. Now all of a sudden he has to pick it up and get what he can, and he barely gets past the 10.
So it's going to be a 1st and 10. Ball on the 15-yard line. 3:44 to go. shotgun set look for the Bulldogs. This is number 4, Angus Jordan, who hands it off to Jack Johnson and tries to get to the outside, and he's brought down at near the 20, so a pickup of 4 there.
Yeah, that's a good hard run by Jack Johnson.
Brought down by 23, Chase Cashmitter of the Pirates.
And folks, bear with us. We're just trying to get our heater set up here. little play call here in the booth of IdahoSports.com. 3:15 now, clock and rolling. 2nd and 6, ball on the 19 as Genesee hopes to start climbing their way back into this game. And boy, from this standpoint, it looks as though they've got a cliff in front of them. Jordan in the gun. Jordan throws it deep over the top to Wareham, and it's incomplete. Boy, those two players were jockeying for position there. No flags thrown. Number 21, Colton McElroy, was there on the coverage.
Yeah, the blue shirts are going to say that there might have been a little bit of extra contact there. The white shirts, the Prairie team's going to say, no, excellent coverage. We're running stride for stride. But Cy Wareham almost came up with that. Whether there was extra or not, that's hard to tell. But definitely one of those where it was a great ball. He had the time he was been looking for. And he almost got the ball in great field position.
2:54 here, 3rd and 6, ball on the 19. Genesee in desperate need of a first down conversion here. They have not had a first down on the night. Jordan throws a quick bubble screen there, and it's read, and immediately Cy Wareham is brought down for a loss on the play. That was number 2, Lane Shoemaker, and it might help to have a quarterback in your secondary.
Yeah, Shoemaker's got that sniffed out. Maybe that all that time in the backfield for Prairie's got him thinking about, okay, this is what it's going to look like when you do this. And definitely one of those where they're trying to get the ball to Cy and give him a chance to make his moves, but Shoemaker was having none of it.
Yeah, it's 4th and 8 now, and it looks as though the Bulldogs are going to stay on the field here and go for it. 4th and 8 from the 17-yard line. If they don't get it, this is going to be another short field for the Pirates.
Yeah, there's not much they could do now. They got to try and go for the win, so Jordan back to pass.
Jordan looking, throws a deep post over the top, and it's incomplete over the head of Cy Wareham. And the Pirates will take over on downs.
Yeah, it's one of those where you just kind of say, wish you had it back, either a little bit less depth on the pass or a little bit more air, so that way Cy could have ran under it. He broke free. He was getting exactly what they're looking for, but the ball fell about 5 yards in front of him. So now, unfortunately for Genesee, they didn't get the first down, so now you gave them, like you said, great field position for their next possession.
So 1st and 10 from the 17. I formation look here for the Pirates as they hand it to Hasselstrom up the middle. He bounces outside and then goes inside. What a juke move from Hasselstrom as he made Wareham miss. And Hasselstrom goes untouched into the end zone for another touchdown.
Yeah, Hasselstrom's showing why so many people are looking at him. Not only has he been in the weight room a couple of days, but also he's got the moves and the grooves. You know, is Cy going to get ran over? Is he going to go past him? Is he going to outburst him? And he picks inside and touchdown Hasselstrom.
Hasselstrom already with 2 touchdowns on the night as Tate Hibbard gets the 2-point conversion on a play-action pass to the fullback. And it is 38-0 in favor of Prairie with 2:01 left in the first quarter. Jason, this has been a flawless performance from Prairie.
Yeah, Prairie's showing why they're a top 5 team in the state. Somebody who feels like they kind of let it get away from them last year. They've probably been working out like a beast because they feel like they lost the potential to go to the championship and do a lot of damage in the championship game last year. So kids are going to work really hard for that. So it's really one of those where, you know, their kids are experienced. They familiar names. You know, some of these names we've said year and year and year after. They do graduate, folks. They do graduate, but it's one of those where the Cashminers and the Rosses and the you name it have been there a number of times. And so Coach Hasselstrom's got a great program. He's not got a great team. He's got a great program, and those kids work hard in the off season. They work hard in practice. It shows. They have every or nearly everything already diagrammed pre-snap. So it's really one of those where he's got a lot of good stuff going on. Now can he keep him focused? Can Genesee maybe sneak something here on this? I'm always going to be the underdog guy here. So maybe that one of those situations where you can get something going and get a little rhythm right here before the end of the quarter.
Set for the kick is Jason's son, Shane Hansen. Sends it deep. And it's taken at the 20 by Jack Johnson. Johnson's at the 25. He's at the 30. He's at the 40. He's at the 45, 50. He's gone! Jack Johnson gets the Bulldogs on the board.
And just like that, I mean, it's really one of those things where, I hate to say it called it, but it called it. It's really one of those where they have athletes, they can make some things happen. You never know when that switch is going to get flipped. And right there, that's one of those where, just like we've talked about how they respect that kick game, that's one reason why they don't really want Cy Wareham and Jack Johnson to get the ball with a lot of space, because he pretty much ran north-south on that, and boom, it's a touchdown.
And he broke a couple of tackles en route to the end zone as well. So 38-6 the score now, with Genesee hoping to get the 2-point conversion here. Johnson and Wareham both in the backfield together. It looks like Wareham has been moved to quarterback. Wareham takes the snap, rolls to his right. Looking to the corner of the end zone, throws it over the top, and it's incomplete. Wyatt Ross was there on the coverage, but there were a couple of Bulldogs there. Maybe a little miscommunication on that play.
Yeah, kind of one of those weird things. Could he run it? It's only 3 yards to get to the end zone for the extra point, but he tried to pick Nolan Bartos as his target, and the defender was right there, so the Prairie Pirates are having none of that.
So with 1:49 left in the first quarter, Prairie leads 38-6. And at this point in time, we'd like to thank another one of our sponsors for this game as soon as my phone decides to open up. Here we are. We'd like to thank Arnzen Construction. Arnzen Construction is a general contractor for all your commercial and residential needs. They have enjoyed serving the people of Idaho and Washington for over 34 years. Their highly trained staff is courteous, efficient, and effective, giving you the highest quality workmanship at a reasonable cost. Please give them a call so we can assist you with your next project. Go Pirates! And again, if you want to advertise here on IdahoSports.com, reach out to Catherine Gowans. I hope I'm not butchering your name, Catherine. It's Catherine at IdahoSports.com, or you could call at 208-340-2911. I mean, we do it all here at IdahoSports.com. We broadcast the game. We advertise for your business. If you're looking to get some notoriety out there, supporting your hometown team, and a lot of the times we'll have teams visiting fans visiting from out of town. So make them stop by your business while you're there. Genesee does a little pooch kick here inside the 40, but it's picked up by the Pirates. That's number 5 for the Pirates, Trenton Lawrence, who gets to the far side of the field. He's down the sideline, and finally. He's still going. And
but he fumbled. He fumbled. Now we're racing back the other way.
Unbelievable. Genesee recovers it. Here's what happened, folks. Trenton Lawrence, the sophomore running back, picked it up and ran it all the way inside the 5, but it was stripped by the Bulldogs from the behind. They pick it up, and they run it to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I was just going to say number 5, Lawrence just does a nice job. Scoops it up, gets the yards, showing how deep that roster is for them, where he isn't somebody we've mentioned so far, but he was going to make a splash there near the end zone. But never quit by Genesee, going ahead and rip and strip that thing. And then all of a sudden, what was going to be another touchdown by Prairie is a big defensive momentum maker for Genesee.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 14 as Genesee hopes to get something going here and cut into this lead even more as Jordan back to pass, throws it over the top to Cy Wareham, who high points it, and he's brought down at the 20. The 30, and then a flag comes in late. This could be against the Pirates.
Yeah, it looked like a quick tackle. I'm not sure if he got a little bit of face mask on that. But again, we just talked about that never quit attitude. Coach Podrabski's got to be happy with what he's seen so far out of this little burst where, guys aren't really just hanging up their hats and trying to get out of here. They really are trying to make things happen. And it looks like the penalty was declined because the yardage was better. So moving those sticks, stay on offense, Genesee.
That was a pass interference call there against the Pirates, and those penalties declined, as Jason said. So 1st and 10 here for the Bulldogs. Jordan takes the snap, hands it off to Johnson up the middle. Correction, that's not Johnson. That's number 11, Cole Riebold, the senior running back, who dances forward for a gain of 5.
Yeah, we've been talking about the offensive and defensive lines. This time, it looked like Jacob Crick from Genesee got a little push on that defensive line, getting Shane Hansen on his heels and kind of opened up a little bit of a hole there. So if they can keep that going, Genesee can maybe balance out some of this pass-happy stuff we've seen.
2nd and 5, ball on the 35, under a minute to go. 4 down linemen for the Bulldogs, 2 receivers in the set. Prairie brings pressure right up the middle, and the Bulldogs unfortunately call a run play right into it. So that was just kind of unlucky from their standpoint.
Yeah, Jesse Cronin right there. We talked about a number of the other kids. He just kind of secured that tackle quick with a bunch of his friends, and that put a stop to all that momentum they were gaining on the ground.
So 3rd and 7, loss of 2 on that one, and it's going to push the ball back to the 33-yard line. 20 seconds to go. 38-6 the score. And the Pirates once again with a chance to get off the field here. Back in the gun is number 4, Angus Jordan, and next to him is number 11. That is Cole Rebold, and Jordan's being pressured heavily, has to just try to get rid of it, and it's finally being blown dead. That was close to being a fumble there, Jason.
Yeah, quick little reaction, heavy pressure from that defensive line. We talked about how they'd kind of been checked up there a couple of plays, but then all of a sudden they break free again, cause a lot of havoc on him. Looked like maybe it was a screen, trying to get a quick pass out there, and 4th down, Genesee. They did switch back to their original quarterback. Looked like that might have been just a one-play special there where Cy Wareham was quarterback. Wyatt Jordan, again, is the quarterback for Genesee.
So 4th and 7. Ball is on the 33, and Cy Wareham is in the game. So this could be a punt, or they could be going for it here. We'll see.
Nobody back.
Wareham back to pass. He's going to throw a deep shot over the top. It's caught! 1st down, Genesee. Number 7, Teak Wareham with a big catch.
Yeah, brother to brother right there. He just did a nice job of just throwing it up high. It looked kind of like a punt, but he threw it. And the defender was right there doing what he needed to do, but it definitely landed in blue shirt territory and really one of those situations where Coach Hasselstrom is out there saying, well, wait a minute now, that looked like some offensive PI there, but the referees are saying, nah, 1st down Genesee. That brings us to the end of the first quarter.
That is indeed the end of the first quarter with the score, Prairie 38, Genesee 6. Now, Jason, let's just go ahead and keep it right here. Genesee, talk about some big plays to just keep their pulse alive in this game. You know, we're talking about they come up with the touchdown on the kickoff return. That was to put the first points on the board from number 22, Jack Johnson. Then on the ensuing kickoff, Prairie looks like they're just going to take it all the way back for a score and ice the game potentially. That was number 5, Trenton Lawrence. However, great pursuit from the Bulldogs as they chase him down and punch the ball free within the 5-yard line, recover it, and now they're still alive on this drive in Prairie territory.
Yeah, and that's really what Coach Podrapsky's hoping for, guys to just keep stringing stuff alive. It doesn't have to be special. It doesn't have to be, out of this world. Just keep the drive alive.
1st and 10, ball in the 40. They're going to hand this one off right up the middle, and it is stuffed. That is number 11, Cole Rebold, who ran right into the teeth of that Pirates defense.
Yeah, we talked about Hibbard and Hasselstrom on offense. That time Hibbard comes up from his linebacker spot and says, let me introduce myself.
I suppose you could say right into the cannons of that Pirates defense. See what I did there?
Yeah.
2nd and 13. After the loss there, loss of 3 on the play, and Cy Wareham, it does look indeed, is in at quarterback. So we've kind of got a 2-quarterback system going on here for Genesee, trying to mix it up a little bit. 2 receivers in the set, 1 back in the backfield. That's, of course, Jack Johnson near Wareham. They've got their 2 best athletes handling the ball at all times. They hand it to Johnson, tries to cut upfield, and he's brought down from behind. That was number 12, Shane Hansen, bringing him down for another loss of yards.
Yeah, it looked like they kind of had that sniffed out. They had a little motion across the formation. They used the running back next to Cy Wareham as an extra blocker, and it really just looked like it didn't get going very fast, and the defense was right there for them.
And now it's 3rd and 16, ball on the 46 as the clock ticks towards the 10-minute mark here in the first half. Still over 10 minutes to go, and Genesee is looking at a 3rd and 17, ball on the 47. Wareham in the gun, 2 receivers in the set. Wareham drops back. He's got blockers in front of him. Wareham throws up a prayer, and it's caught once again. And there's a fumble! Unbelievable. There was a catch that was caught by number 33, Dalton McCann, and then he was held up and fumbled it. Prairie takes over.
Yeah, it looked just the opposite of that, where it looked like some broken coverage right there. It looked like Wyatt Ross had been beat on the coverage. He gets his feet settled down. The offensive player from Genesee goes ahead and makes his move, and Ross just does the same thing that happened to Prairie just a second ago, punches it out. Prairie ball stops that drive.
Unfortunate there for Prairie, as now they have to give the ball back to the Pirates and their powerful offense, and Brody Hasselstrom takes the handoff and picks up 3 there. Now Genesee's hanging on for dear life at this point.
Yeah, they've shown some great play potential. Now they just got to settle back in here and play some defense.
2nd and 8 after the pickup of 2, ball on the 28-yard line. Under 10 minutes to go now and rolling. And they fake the handoff to Hasselstrom here. Look back across the formation on a play-action pass. What a catch! That was number 21, Colton McElroy. And boy, did he high point that ball and come down with it.
Nothing dirty, but the defenders were closing in on Shoemaker quick. And it was one of those situations where it kind of got him a little bit out of sorts. He does throw that ball, a nice ball, high points it, and then it's going to be a situation where it's going to have to cause Genesee to settle in here again on defense with you now pushed back. You already gave up the first down, and now you're going to have to settle in and play some more defense here with the first down.
Yeah, major props to Shoemaker, who stood in and delivered that strike under enormous amount of pressure, and he was put on his back there. He's up now and walking off the field, but definitely maybe the wind knocked out of him on that one, but more credit to him.
Oh, and a great throw. Just needed where it needed to be. He could clearly see that blue shirt coming at him, but he gets it up there. And I'm sure he'll be back in here in just a smidge.
So after that catch, that makes it 1st and 10, ball on the 38. So a pickup of 10 yards there. That's enough for the first. And that will keep the Pirates on the field. They have been tremendous on 3rd down thus far. And they now get the play from the sideline. In at quarterback, that looks to be number 21. We've called his name Colton McElroy, and McElroy hands it off to old reliable Brody Hasselstrom, who's spun down by Cy Wareham after a pickup of about 5. Good job from Wareham there to stop the ever-dangerous Hasselstrom.
Yeah, and showing some of that experience we've been talking about where he just goes ahead and settles in on defense. Cy Wareham does. You know, he's been a quarterback receiver. Now he's playing some good hard defense.
2nd and 5 now. I formation once again. McElroy hands it off to Hasselstrom, he's just a pinball of a running back. He's brought down after a gain of 3, but it took 4 Bulldogs to finally bring him down.
Yeah, for sure. Here comes Shoemaker back in. He's got the play in from the sidelines. Everybody goes back to the original spots. Number 35 got to come in and play a little bit there, which would be Kurt Gartner. And so it's really those where just kind of showing their versatility there from Prairie.
I formation look once again, 3rd and 1. Genesee showing pressure. They fake it. It's a triple option look. Hasselstrom gets to the outside, lowers the shoulder, still on his feet, and he's pushed back out towards the 50. And we'll see where they mark this. He should have the first down and more.
A little bit of sportsmanship there. He's tackled near the sidelines, completely clean and legal. And then Coach Podrabski comes over and picks him up and kind of shows the size difference there. And Brody looks at Podrabski and says, "Thanks, Coach." And he's back in the huddle.
1st and 10, and they're going to hand this one off to Hibbard. Bounces off a tackle. He's got the first down and more, and he drags half the defense with him, and he's inside the 40, close to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, Genesee's coming up there trying to rip and strip that ball, but the payoff there is the fact that guys aren't always wrapping to tackle, they're wrapping to strip, and Hibbard is just eating them up with another big first down.
So 1st and 10 now for the Pirates. Ball on the 36-yard line in Genesee territory. They're marching down the field once again. 1 receiver in the set for the Pirates this time. Another I formation look. Hasselstrom gets to the outside on the near side of the field, and he's pushed out near the 20. And that's going to be close to another first down. And it looks like they're moving the chains once again. So another first down there for the Pirates.
Yeah, and again, nice job by that offensive line from Prairie. Just he doesn't get touched by anybody until he's 3 or 4 yards downfield. That's Jesse Cochran Cronin doing a nice job of blocking and doing his damage, as well as Shane Hansen.
A rear sight for the Pirates. Shotgun set. They're going to fake it to Hasselstrom, and Shoemaker keeps it himself, cuts upfield, and he's into the end zone. The quarterback gets his feet wet in this one.
Yep, we saw him score on defense. Now all of a sudden he scores on offense. Dusted off that little bit of a bang up there when he threw that beautiful ball. Gets himself right there in the end zone by himself. Again, Noah Bueller right there doing a nice job. How about Noah Bueller doing a nice job? I can't say his name, but my gosh, he's doing a great job blocking.
High formation, and it's thrown back across the formation. What a hit! Still the 2-point conversion stands, but my goodness, Cy Wareham lowered the boom and made him earn that one.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, Ross right there with that crossing route that they love. Cy Wareham was over there with 2 offensive players, which is not necessarily what you're hoping for from play design, but nice job of doing what he could with what he had and tried to dislodge the ball, but better job by Ross making sure he caught it.
So a 40-point lead for the Pirates with 8 minutes to go here in the first half, 46-6. It has been all Prairie other than a few Genesee, I guess, miracle-type plays where they have shown their fight, they've shown their grit, but it just hasn't gone their way in almost every facet of the game thus far.
Yeah, and Genesee, hats off to them. They're showing how close they are and how much they're improved. At the same time, Prairie showing that experience that they've been through these battles, and even with the long setup to get the game started, they came out of the blocks raring to go. And even when they've been had those big plays against them, they just seem to settle in, shake it off, and rise to the occasion.
And the breeze, the infamous breeze, is starting to kick in. I don't like that. You see the flag across the field starting to wave a little bit.
Yeah.
Patriotic as ever.
But that means you're getting colder, so you keep getting closer and closer to that heater.
That's right. I'm pretty much just sitting on it at this point.
And it's not even halftime yet.
Oh, my goodness. Shane Hansen, once again, we've called his name a lot tonight. He's been busy kicking the ball deep, and we'll see where he targets this one. Back deep to receive this time. Cy Wareham is not there. That's number 80, Wyatt Jordan for Genesee, next to Jack Johnson. And this one's just kicked right down the middle of Johnson. Picked up inside the 20. He's at the 30. He finds a hole and pushes forward, and he's brought down at the 35-yard line. So good field position there for Genesee.
Yeah, nice job by Johnson. Getting patient. Okay, I ran out of time, and he gets that, get those wheels going and gets that first down. Looks like we're going to go back to Cy Wareham. Angus Jordan and Cy Wareham have been kind of bouncing back and forth between quarterbacks, trying to get who has the hot hand and how are things going.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 33. 7:56 to go for Genesee as they hope to claw their way back from this deficit. Shotgun look. 2 backs in the backfield, 2 receivers. 3 down linemen for Prairie, 3 linebackers over the top of that, man-to-man on the outside. Wareham, it's just a straight quarterback run to the left side, or the near side of the field, and he's brought down after a pickup of a couple, so it's going to make it 2nd and 7 after that one.
Yeah, good play design. Unfortunately, that's just a rough way to make an easy living where you get that student body left near us, and all those white shirts show up and show that speed, and instead of it being a 6 or 8 yard gain, pretty soon it's just a 1 or 2.
So a couple of substitutions made here for the Bulldogs, trying to keep fresh bodies in and out of the lineup, mixing up a little. Into the game is number 7, Teak Wareham. We've called his name quite a bit. He's back in the backfield. And they're going to fake it to Johnson, but Wareham's immediately got pressure in front of him. He has to get rid of it. And he did a good job just getting that ball near one of his intended receivers. That was number 12, Nolan Bartos, downfield.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was the play design, but Cy showing some savvy right there where he's going to get
Cy.
Yeah, he's going to get sacked, so he just goes ahead and wings it out there. Nolan didn't really react like he was supposed to be getting the ball. It looked like he was engaged with the defender. We won't call that pass interference, but it looked like he was engaged for a little while and let go. And unfortunately for Genesee, that makes it a long 3rd down, and all those white shirts are digging in their cleats, and that D-line is hoping to make a play.
3rd and 9, trips. As far as receivers go for Genesee, this one, Wareham pressured immediately, throws the ball over the top, and it's caught! Once again, Teak Wareham. Wareham to Wareham. That is the connection tonight.
You know, one of those two where that defensive line wave from Prairie was coming. Cy knew it was going to be there. Shane Hansen and the boys were going to be right in his front porch. He just throws it up there. It looked like a punt, and Teak goes up high points. At this time, he also makes sure he keeps the ball all the way to the ground. We just saw Ross turn that into a strip fumble, and nice job by the offensive players making sure they keep the ball.
So that was a 20-yard gain there, roughly, for the Bulldogs. 1st and 10 in Prairie territory. They go back to Wareham there. Teak, as he gets to the far side of the field, and he is hit hard out of bounds. Yeah, he had to earn every yard there. And this one, it looks like he's going to earn a 15-yard penalty for Genesee.
Maybe a little bit of frustration there just because Hibbard was right there to make the tackle. They shake that one off, and then he's breaking tackles as he's running near the sidelines. And looked like it was just one of those where he's near the sidelines. Is he out? Is he in? Got to make a play. Again, the defenders from Prairie just trying to get him down, and it turns into a first down because of the penalty.
And that looks like a targeting call there against Prairie. So 15-yard penalty. And that's going to be another first down for Genesee as they now move in close to the red zone.
But it's going to be key for Genesee. Forget about the score. Forget about the clock. You got to get some points. If you're going to go into halftime and have any kind of momentum, you got to get some points out of these last couple of possessions before halftime.
1st and 10, ball on the 44. Oh, correction, that scoreboard's wrong. Out route here, and it's caught. Excellent catch there from number 12, Nolan Bartos, who gets it near the first down marker. And Genesee is now inside the 30, close to the 20-yard line.
And quick secured tackle there. I believe that was Ross again, who we've talked about him being a defender, or I'm sorry, a receiver. This time he turns into the defender and makes that quick tackle on Bartos and gets him down.
And we have a car alarm going off over there in the parking lot. Exciting stuff here. 2nd and 2, ball on the 21. Wareham hands it off to Johnson. Johnson tries to get that first down, but he is cut down at that line of scrimmage by who else? Brody Hasselstrom.
And his buddy Shoemaker, who right there too. They sent Hibbard up in the side this time, caused a little pressure, and all that speed was waiting for him right there on the edge.
So 3rd and 3, loss of 1 there that Johnson was held to. Ball's on the 22, 5.5 to go and counting. 46-6 in favor of the Pirates. We're 6-0 on the season. Genesee at 5-1. Wareham drops back, immediately pressured, has to throw up a prayer. The receiver comes back to it, and it's another touchdown.
I'm not sure that's completely the play design. Dalton McCann is the receiver. The ball is up so high, he has to stop and come back for it. The defender believes he's going to head into the end zone, and so that was McElroy following him all the way in the end zone. McCann comes back, and the defender is thinking, what the heck, and catches the ball, and then he's able to step in. And so it looked kind of like it's a little unconventional. It looks more like a punt than a throw. But definitely one of those where Genesee got the touchdown they were looking for.
I don't know that you can blame the Prairie defender on that one. I wouldn't have been looking for that one either.
Oh, yeah, he thought that was a go route for sure.
46-12 now, and here's the 2-point conversion attempt. Wareham keeps it himself, and he is cut down in the backfield. And it's Brody Hasselstrom once again. Not only does he have the instinct on offense, but he has it on defense.
Yeah, it's one of those where, again, we talked about Cy Wareham. You're a big gamer, and you're used to making plays and getting your guys rallied up. Hasselstrom's right there to try and counter some of that. Okay, they got a couple of scores. That doesn't mean we're not going to keep loading it up on our side.
So that makes the score 46-12 in favor of Prairie. And, for a game that's been all Prairie, Jason, Genesee sure has made it interesting.
Yeah, and we've seen some of those plays that they're looking for. We've seen the strip fumble. We've seen an interception here. We've seen, good plays there. The big return by Jack Johnson. It's just important for them to string them closer together and everybody do it. Genesee cannot have 1 or 2 guys making these kinds of plays. They have to have 8, and that's the tough thing about Prairie. They got 10 or 12 guys that, we've seen Shoemaker need to take a break on offense. The next guy just steps up, and they still get the first down.
So with 5:10 to go here in the first half, trailing 46-12, do we see an onside kick here from Genesee?
I don't think so. I think it's one of those where probably second half stuff, but I would think that they're going to try and kick it deep, maybe get that offense pinned back as far as you can.
Cy Wareham set to kick this one off. Back deep to receive is a couple of Pirates, namely Hasselstrom and number 8, that is Wyatt Ross. And it goes to Wyatt Ross, who now goes from near side to far side, tries to get to the outside. He goes up the middle instead. He's got an opening. He's at the 50. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. Cy Wareham to beat inside the 10, and he's pushed out, but we've got a flag all the way back near where the ball was originally caught. So that could be holding. We'll see what the call is here.
Again, excellent play by Ross. Like you said, he goes from near sideline to far sideline, back to near sideline. Huge run. Cy Wareham, forget about the penalty. He's thinking, I'm not going to let you score no matter what's happened. And just showing some big game stuff there himself. But you're right, that penalty does make it come back. It looks like it's going to be way back on the 18-yard line for Prairie, and that holding or block in the back is block in the back is going to push them way back. And even though the kickoff is not what you're looking for and the return was worse, this is where they wanted to pin them anyway.
So that negates what would have been a 80-yard plus return there for Wyatt Ross. So certainly disappointing on his part. Or for his part, rather. 1st and 10, ball in the 27 after the penalty. Shotgun look here for the Pirates. We're just used to the eye. And they're going to hand it to Tayden Hibbard, who breaks into the open field. He's down the near sideline. And he's pushed out at the 35-yard line.
Okay, I thought he had tight-roped a little bit longer than that, but okay, I'll give it to you. And that's the dangerous piece, that you have Cy Wareham, who just made the big play. He's matched up with Hasselstrom on the far side of the field. His ability to get all the way back across the field, back-to-back play is going to be tough. And then it's got to be up to the guys in the box to stop him. And Hibbard's showing why. Don't just say we're a one-horse pony or one-horse parade here, that they have so many weapons. It's incredible.
Shoemaker. A deep post to Hasselstrom, and it's incomplete. Excellent coverage there from number 7. That's Teak Wareham.
Yeah, nice defense, but great ball by Shoemaker right there. Just putting it where his guy could get it. Now, granted, he didn't come down with it, but he definitely put some zip on it and showing some arm strength there.
So, Jason, you and I, before the broadcast began, we were talking about Brody Hasselstrom and Tayden Hibbard, as though they were Lendale White and Reggie Bush. Thunder and lightning look here. Who's who?
Well, I would think Hasselstrom's got to be the Thunder on this, but
and there he is.
And there he is with a big old shoulder crack. I don't know if you could hear that on that, but he likes to lay some lumber here on the sideline. He's not a logger, he's a pirate, but he definitely brings it. And then when you forget about Hibbard, he stings you for an 80-yard return.
Yeah, that was on that play there. Brody Hasselstrom lowers the shoulder and picks up yet another first down after a pickup of 11 or 12. He is just a load to handle. Offset eye here. They go to Hibbard this time, and he goes to the far side of the field, bounces off 2 tackles, and breaks free into the end zone. Tayden Hibbard says, don't forget about me.
Yeah, and without a doubt, little hats off to the offensive line there from Prairie that Shane Hansen had pulled from his guard spot all the way across the formation. There wasn't anybody there for him to block because everybody was doing their job. He runs up in the hole, and Hibbard throws 2 defenders off. I mean, it's just one of those things where Hibbard gets his name in the paper, but that offensive line's doing some big-time work.
So once again, a 2-point conversion opportunity here for the Pirates. 52-12 the score. Shoemaker in the gun. Takes a snap, fakes it to Hasselstrom, rolls right, and it's caught. And that was a nice crossing route from number 21, Colton McElroy. And that puts 54 on the board for the Pirates.
Yeah, and Colton McElroy is listed as a receiver quarterback, and we've seen him do both here as needed. And it just shows some of these guys from Prairie are just Swiss Army knives. I'll just do whatever you need me to do, Coach. Just get me out here. It's just a team ball mentality of just everybody kind of getting out there and doing their thing and respecting each other. I bet you Hibbard, and if we had the ability to get him on the on the mic here after the game like you see on TV, Hasselstrom and Hibbard would tell their guys up front that they're the ones doing all the work and not getting much credit.
54-12 the score, 4:15 left in the first half, and a cool autumn night here in Genesee, Idaho, as the breeze is kicking up a little bit. But, Jason, years back, I remember we came here. This was one of my first broadcasts with you and I forget his name. Brandon McIntosh. That's his
right.
name.
That's right, brother.
And, I did not think that it would be too cold. And I was dying in that broadcast, I tell you.
Well, the sun, even at this time of year, I was kind of fooled too. I walked home from school today, and it was a beautiful day, and I was wearing a T-shirt, and pretty soon the sun goes down, and we're over here by the creek, and it's 10 degrees cooler than anywhere else in town, and pretty soon you're thinking, where is the heater? Oh, Garrison's sitting on it.
Cy Wareham takes this one on the return, and he is brought down at the 30-yard line by the whole host of Pirates.
That's at Trenton Lawrence right there. Again, just showing how many waves of Pirates can come in here. We saw him do that great job on the kick return where Lawrence came from the near side to the far side, almost had a touchdown, but the strip happened. And then this time he does work on the kick-off team and comes down here and gets the solo tackle against Cy Wareham.
And Cy Wareham back in the game, who just threw a punt for a touchdown on the last drive. So he will take over once again at the 32-yard line. 68 yards of field in front of him here. 3 receivers in the set as Teak Wareham goes in motion across the formation. The Pirates have that 3-and-3 look once again. Wareham throws it to the right side of the field, far side, and that catch is made by number 12, Nolan Bartos, for a pickup of 8.
Yeah, nice job by Bartos securing the ball. We've seen him as a favorite target here of late, and Ross was right there to get that quick tackle. Genesee offensive line doing a nice job, giving Wareham some time to pick through some targets and put a better ball on who they need to get the ball to. And if they can do that, then maybe they can climb back into this bad boy.
2nd and 2, ball on the 40. Shotgun look here for the Bulldogs. Once again, 2 receivers on the set this time. As Wareham takes the snap, hands it to Johnson, and he is upended immediately. Who else? Shane Hansen in the backfield on that one.
That's rough because he bulldozed his guard into the running back and tackled the running back with the guard. So
not much you can do as the running back there.
That's correct.
So that's going to take what would have been that was 2nd and 2. Loss of 4 on the play makes it 3rd and 6, and suddenly it's a little bit more of a precarious position here for the Bulldogs. But they've kind of been living in that realm tonight as we are now under 3 minutes here in the first half.
Yeah, Prairie takes it to heart. They oftentimes say you should live on the heels of the guards, and they pretty much patrol back there with their defensive line.
Shotgun set once again. Wareham drops back, pressured hard, has to throw it over the top, and it's incomplete. That was almost a case of just needing to get rid of it to save an even bigger loss.
Yeah, and the defensive lineman was right in his face again. I think that was Shane Hansen again, just almost hanging on that arm, and probably would have caused either a pick or a fumble or something if he'd have just been a half a step sooner.
There's one thing we need to paint the picture of tonight is the size difference up front. We look at Prairie's defensive front. They are massive compared to Genesee's.
Yeah, I think they put a couple extra inches of padding inside their shoulder pads to make them look that way. I don't know if that's true to form. No, I'm kidding.
So 4th and 6, and they're going to go for it. Wareham drops back, delivers an out route, and it's caught, and it's going to be a first down. Big play. Cy Wareham to number 33, Dalton McCann.
Yeah, that's a nice job by McCann. He just secures the ball. He knows where he's at as far as the chains are concerned. Just get the ball, get down. And McElroy was right there to tackle him, but he had already picked up the first down before that happened.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 46, 2:25 to go and counting. Can Genesee put some points on the board just before half? 2 receivers in the set once again. McCann on the near side and Bartos on the far side. Wareham takes the snap. It's low. He hands it off to Johnson, who cuts up field, and he's brought down for a pickup of 2. So Johnson just has not been able to get much going. His own offensive line has been pushed back into him on numerous occasions.
Yeah, we just talked about that with just a moment ago, and in that one it looked like they sent the first 3. Hibbard was coming, so that's 4, and the linebackers are standing there. Shoemaker and Hasselstrom were standing there waiting, and so that's a lot of bodies to pick through to try and get any yards.
So 2nd and 9, he only picks up 1 there as we're now under 2 minutes. Wareham takes the snap. It's school right, student body right as Jason calls it. Wareham spins forward past the first down marker, and that time student body right worked.
Yeah, and that time it was big on big. You had Jack Johnson delivering a big old fullback blow on Hasselstrom, so looked like a couple of bighorn sheep out there smacking together. And that's exactly what Genesee needs here is tick, tick, tick. We're down to 1:33 in the second quarter. So regardless of the scoreboard, you got to get a score out of this one.
I'm telling them, you called them bighorn sheep.
There you go.
1st and 10.
Don't tell CV I said that. They're the Rams.
That's true. 1st and 10, ball on the 37. Just over a minute to go. Wareham drops back. 5-step drop. Throws it deep to the left. And there is some confusion there potentially as number 33, McCann, had stopped on a hook route. And then it appeared as though the combination was Teak Wareham going deep on a corner. But there were 2 Pirates there as well.
Yeah, McElroy was probably the closest to the ball. And he was trying to drag his feet to get the ball secured, but it was a little bit out of his reach as well.
So 2nd and 10 now. That does stop the clock, which the clock was working against Genesee there. So, but at the same time, I'm sure they'd be happy to head to halftime with some points on the board. So 3 receivers in the set. Teak Wareham to the far side with Bartos, and on the near side we have McCann. And Wareham's going to roll towards McCann's side, the near side. Tries cutting infield, and he's brought down before he can do so. That was Taden Hibbard as well as McElroy on the tackle.
It looked a little bit like we've seen before, student body right, student body left. This time, Cy Wareham, instead of cutting outside, trying to use that speed, kind of goes up inside. And because of that, they tackle him in bounds. And one of those situations where the clock is rolling.
Yep, clock is rolling, and that's going to prompt a timeout from Genesee as a coach, Podrabski, likely saw, okay, let's get settled here. It's 3rd and 8. Ball on the 34. We got to see what we can come up with here.
Yeah, and that's one of those catch-22s, and I think Coach Podrabski was trying to do in the math himself where, okay, you want to get excited, you want to get these points. At the same time, if it's pass, then you give, Prairie gets about 30 seconds or so to score, and they may take a knee, but at the same time they may just hand it to Hasselstrom and see what they get out of that. So one of those where I think he's trying to manage him, and like you said, get him calmed down. We've talked about how he knows these guys. He's been around them in other sports several years, and they really rallied around him this year, and so I think he's just trying to challenge him up here a little bit and say, okay, we got to get a touchdown here, and we'll worry about second half in the second half. And maybe design something up here that maybe a little non-traditional. I don't know if it would be complete trick play, but we've seen them explore a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We had the kind of comeback punt route. I don't know what we call that route, but if they could run that on purpose again, that might go.
Hail Mary full of grace.
Yeah, that's right.
3rd and 8, ball on the 34. Second quarter here, just about over with 41 seconds left. And it's a low, and it's a deep post over the top. It's caught by Johnson! Touchdown, Genesee! For whatever reason, Prairie can just not figure out the deep route.
Yeah, well, and maybe that's what they talked about. Jack Johnson, we've talked to you about being a power runner and your own little thunder, but this time they hit him deep over the middle. And again, Genesee's offensive line was able to give Cy enough time to throw one of those punt passes where he just throws it deep and shows some of that arm strength and does a nice job getting him in the end zone.
Cy Wareham with 2 touchdown passes here in the first half. And both of them have just been deep bombs over the top. Wareham takes the snap. He's looking left. He had Johnson open, finds him finally, and it's caught. So Wareham did a good job of surveying the field there, and they get the 2-point conversion. And Genesee now has 20 points on the board, and they cut it to a 34-point lead. So, Jason, certainly still a mountain to climb, so to speak.
Right, without a doubt. Mountain to climb, but this is the kind of stuff that a team that's 5-1 can start to build some momentum on, especially when it's got to be a little concerning for Hasselstrom because Jack Johnson was open, he's still open, and then he finds him. Then he was able to not only get open like that, but Cy had the time. We've talked about Prairie's defensive line almost on every play here recently. Now all of a sudden he's got time to pick through his receivers and find Jack Johnson who's open, and there must have been some miscommunication from Prairie. So this is the kind of stuff if Genesee can build on, they could really get some big points out of this in the second half.
So a 34-point cushion here for the Pirates, and also 34 seconds left in the first half here.
And I would, sorry, Garrison, I was just going to say, as much as, second half, Genesee's got to come out here and play some good, solid cover team, and you got to make sure that they don't score in 34 seconds because even a give up the middle might break with Hibbard and Hasselstrom.
Very true, and we've already seen that numerous times tonight. Hasselstrom may have, I've lost count, frankly. He may have 2 or 3 touchdowns. Hibbard might have 2 or 3. I know Shoemaker, the quarterback, has a touchdown. Wyatt Ross has a couple.
I was going to say, Ross is back here for receiving the ball, and he'd love to get his hands on another 80-yard return.
Minus the block in the back. We'll see what they can do here as Wareham just squibs this one down the field, hoping to get some coverage down there as Ross takes it. He goes from near side, trying to go far side, and the Genesee was ready that time as he's brought down near the 20-yard line.
That's an excellent tackle right there. Looks like number 80, which would be Wyatt Jordan, comes in there and does exactly what Genesee's looking for, getting that special team stop, special team solo tackle.
And now Genesee has 78 yards of field to protect. 30 seconds here. Can they keep the Pirates out of the end zone before halftime? We'll find out. 1st and 10, ball in the 22. Shoemaker takes the snap, fakes it to Hasselstrom. It's a crossing route over the middle. It's to Wyatt Ross, who's one-on-one, and he's still going, but finally dragged down. Bartow's excellent job there of limiting the damage to 15 yards. Time. Oh, there's a flag. Excuse me.
I think it might be pass interference, because one of the receivers was coming across the middle, and the linebackers were kind of poking and pointing and kind of hooked arms, and defensive holding. Okay, all right.
So defensive holding is the call against Genesee, which we'll see if it's declined, because it was a gain of 15 on the play already.
And Ross is thinking, run that one again, Coach. I'm wide open.
Yeah, Bartow's an excellent job for Genesee. Again, limiting the damage to 15 yards, and the penalty will be declined. Timeout taken by Prairie.
Is this a good time to talk about one of your big sponsors from Prairie?
I've already talked about both of them. So you know what? Let's ad-lib this one and talk about what we got going here at IdahoSports.com. I normally have my scripts with me. I forgot them, so we're just going to wing it, Paul. You can grade me after. Did you know here at IdahoSports.com, not only can you be listening to Jason and I here in Genesee up in District 2, but you can be listening to numerous and watching also. It just so happens this is audio only. You can be watching numerous other games across the state of Idaho, Jason.
Yes, and that's it. As we're getting closer and closer to November, which is playoff time in Idaho, these are the times in which you're going to want to see all those big matchups we were just talking about in the Division 1A, D1, all of the games in the next couple of weeks that are going to create the playoff picture. You could watch those 4 at a time and figure out what's going on. Or if your flavor's 5A, you could look at the Lewiston Lake City game.
1st and 10. They're going to throw this one deep over the top to Hasselstrom, and both players fall down. And we've got ourselves a little bit of a shoving match here afterwards. Both players thought they had rights to the ball, and they're little competitive blood flowing a little bit out there.
There is, and that's, you don't want penalties and anything cheap, but at the same time you do want competitive juices, and I think that's mostly what we looked at there. Is it just one of those where the ball's up, the ball's hanging up there a little bit longer than Shoemaker probably wanted. Teague Wareham thought he had rights. Hasselstrom obviously thought he had rights, and there was no penalty on the play. So needless to say, it's 2nd and 10, and it's 16 seconds left.
And once again, they're going to go to the air. This time, Hasselstrom gets it on a screen pass. He's trying to make something happen here, bounces off a tackle, and he stays alive, and he's brought down really with no yards gained, though. And that clock's going to stop with 7 seconds after another timeout taken. 2 good plays there from Genesee.
Yeah, and that looked like the whole defensive line from Genesee making some hay right there with looked like Wyatt Jordan again, as well as Jackson Center and Jackson Murley coming from his spot, where it's just one of those where we've highlighted the defensive line from Prairie a couple of times. This time, that screen play to try and get Hasselstrom the ball with a lot of energy, they were able to get him all bottled up there and force them to call timeout again. And again, Prairie's trying to score here, and that's no disrespect on either side there. They know that Genesee can score points in bunches as well, so you better get what you can while you got it. And this is a 6-0 team versus a 5-1 team, so you better get some points on the board.
7 seconds left here. And we'll see what Prairie comes up with. It's 3rd and 10, although really that doesn't matter as we're looking at deep pass plays here.
Double moves.
Shoemaker looks deep over the middle. Hasselstrom in double coverage. It's picked off by Bartos. That was number 12, Nolan Bartos with the interception, and that is going to be the end of the first half.
Nice job by Bartos, not only getting the pick, but Hasselstrom ran over there trying to get a little bit of a strip as well, and it's one of those where, again, showing some of that big game savvy. Coach Podrabski over here clapping his hands, giving his guys pats on the back. We obviously don't want to be down by 34 at halftime, but at the same time, that's kind of that never quit attitude. Those guys are going to come out and battle.
And that, folks, is the end of the first half here in Genesee, Idaho. Again, the score, Prairie 54, Genesee 20. And a lot of work to do for Genesee, but they have a fighting chance, as Jason and I talked about much throughout this first half. We'll be back in about 10 minutes here on IdahoSports.com.
At Toyota's national sales event, we don't just help you get the perfect vehicle. We're here to open new doors that lead to your road to greatness. Your journey starts at Toyota's national sales event.
Toyota, let's go places.
It's time to start planning for back to school. That's why I got my kids vaccinated for COVID-19, so they can be protected from COVID when they're back in the classroom. Kids 12 and older can get vaccinated. The vaccines have been researched and tested. They're safe and they work. Getting vaccinated was quick and easy. You can walk into a pharmacy to get one. We got our COVID-19 vaccine, and I hope everyone will choose to get vaccinated too.
Get a free COVID-19 vaccine today. Find a location near you at covidvaccine.idaho.gov.
A hit in the morning, another between class, after school, and more before bed. Vaping sucks you in quick. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems everyone's talking about. That's why thousands of teens are ready to take back their life their own way with My Life, My Quit. When you sign up with us, you'll get a free and simple quit plan that makes it easier to stop vaping. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
Ads like this keep popping up, but I see through the hype because those vape clouds people claim are just water vapor contain as many as 31 different chemicals, like formaldehyde, the stuff they preserve dead bodies with. And while the flavors sound all harmless, we still have no idea what these ingredients could be doing to our bodies. But I already see vaping for exactly what it is. Get the real facts at BehindTheHaze.com.
I decided to get vaccinated because I wanted to protect myself and my family and my customers from COVID-19. When I went to get my COVID-19 vaccine, it was an easy process, is readily available. Since I got vaccinated, I'm confident I'm protected against the COVID-19 virus. My life has returned to business as usual.
We're Valley-wide Country Store. For 100 years, we've been your #1 choice for food, fuel, farm supplies, and just about everything else you could need to get you through your day. We know you work until the job is done, and so do we. For gas on the go, or a little extra to help you get down the road, you can count on us. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for
At Toyota's national sales event, we don't just help you get the perfect vehicle. We're here to open new doors that lead to your road to greatness. Your journey starts at Toyota's national sales event.
Toyota, let's go places.
It's time to start planning for back to school. That's why I got my kids vaccinated for COVID-19, so they can be protected from COVID when they're back in the classroom. Kids 12 and older can get vaccinated. The vaccines have been researched and tested. They're safe and they work. Getting vaccinated was quick and easy. You can walk into a pharmacy to get one. We got our COVID-19 vaccine, and I hope everyone will choose to get vaccinated too.
Get a free COVID-19 vaccine today. Find a location near you at covidvaccine.idaho.gov.
A hit in the morning, another between class, after school, and more before bed. Vaping sucks you in quick. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems everyone's talking about. That's why thousands of teens are ready to take back their life their own way with My Life, My Quit. When you sign up with us, you'll get a free and simple quit plan that makes it easier to stop vaping. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
At Valley-wide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valley-wide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
Ads like this keep popping up, but I see through the hype because those vape clouds people claim are just water vapor contain as many as 31 different chemicals, like formaldehyde, the stuff they preserve dead bodies with. And while the flavors sound all harmless, we still have no idea what these ingredients could be doing to our bodies. But I already see vaping for exactly what it is. Get the real facts at BehindTheHaze.com.
I decided to get vaccinated because I wanted to protect myself and my family and my customers from COVID-19. When I went to get my COVID-19 vaccine, it was an easy process, is readily available. Since I got vaccinated, I'm confident I'm protected against the COVID-19 virus. My life has returned to business as usual.
We're Valley-wide Country Store. For 100 years, we've been your #1 choice for food, fuel, farm supplies, and just about everything else you could need to get you through your day. We know you work until the job is done, and so do we. For gas on the go, or a little extra to help you get down the road, you can count on us. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Oh my word! Yeah, I mean the whole team, 100 kids can fit in there, and the other crappy little one is that one, which is still bigger than anything we have here. But it's like, I mean that must be 7,000, and that stupid thing is
unreal.
Yeah, it's just
who went. So when I see stuff like that, people are like, the school systems need more money.
Yeah.
And I see stuff like that, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and that's their.
Oh my gosh.
That's the number of kids on their team.
Oh my gosh.
In the red, and then the black has just as many. I mean, they're spread out more, but
and the jumbotron.
Yeah.
Cow.
It's like what?
Unbelievable.
And then the good thing is, this stadium is for 4 6A schools, so they kind of have one for kind of like Joe Albee in Spokane,
right?
Which makes a lot of sense. That's good, but yeah, it's like you don't need a freaking $10,000 tunnel thing that nobody really cares about.
100%.
I mean, the kids don't care. It was a 6-0 team versus a 4-2 team, and it was like it was like two defeated teams.
Right.
I mean, they acted like they didn't care.
Right.
Granted, one of them's playing Allen, Texas tonight, which would be incredible.
Well, commercial's over. Want to just blab about it?
Yep.
All right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here on IdahoSports.com, we have the Genesee Bulldogs and the Prairie Pirates in this rendition of District 2 football here in northern Idaho. And Jason Hansen and I are bringing you the action. And boy, was there a lot of action in that first half, Jason.
Yeah, there was some big-time punch and power by both teams. Unfortunately for the Genesee fans, there was a lot more punch and power from Prairie, but it's one of those where, it definitely didn't miss out on too many big plays by both teams.
So I honestly can't recap everything that happened in that first half because there's 74 points on the board. However, what I will say is Prairie started out with a 34 or 38-0 lead. And then things started getting a little bit crazy, starting with Genesee. We were talking about how they need to start somewhere. Well, they started with a 55-yard kickoff return from the running back, Jack Johnson. And so that got them on the board and off the snide. Then Genesee kicks the ball off on the very ensuing kickoff, goes to number 5 for Prairie, Trenton Lawrence, who takes the ball from his own 20 and snakes all the way down the far side of the field. Inside the 5, it looked like he was going to waltz in for another touchdown. One of the Genesee Bulldogs comes from behind, pokes the ball free. Genesee recovers, and then on that ensuing drive, they go down and score. They go down and fumble. Prairie takes it, and the rest is kind of a blur from there, honestly.
Right, and then it's turned into more of a you score, I'll score, you score, I'll score.
Right.
Now, granted, Coach Hasselstrom's sitting on a 34-point lead, but at the same time, if you're thinking, okay, we're a playoff team and we want to leave a mark tonight, you don't want to just get in a shootout for the rest of the way and see if we got a third digit on the scoreboard where it ends up 98-101 or something crazy.
Right.
But definitely one of those where, it's been an exciting game. We got some great band action right below us. If we're kind of getting blotted out here a little bit, hats off to Miss Smith and the Genesee Bulldog band. But Coach Hasselstrom, we just noted, kept his guys out in the elements. Now the flag is relaxed a little bit. The wind seems like it's died down. It's not nearly as cold as I was afraid of, but I'm huddled up next to the heat. But Coach kept his guys out here with kind of a business-like attitude. So it'll be interesting to see if they kind of get their engines going again and try and make a statement in the second half.
And Prairie came out and had a near-flawless game. Really, the only criticism you and I can probably come up with is maybe their pass coverage over the top.
Right, and that's where they've gotten some points, and that's you always have to have something to work on, and it looks like that needs to be something they kind of fix, because I'm sure Genesee's coming back to it, because that's where they were able to make some big gains quick.
And for those of you just joining us, Genesee, two of their 3 touchdowns came from deep passes from Cy Wareham to his receivers, where he essentially had to loft it 40 yards into the air And then the Prairie defenders did not expect the Genesee receivers to have to cut back to the ball. So the Genesee receivers cut back, turned around, and waltzed into the end zone and left the Prairie defender a little bit stunned. And that was Genesee's 2 offensive touchdowns. And it looks as though we are ready for the second half. Teams have wandered onto the field, and everything's lined up, and number 12, Shane Hansen, is set to kick, and he has given Genesee problems all night tonight. Back deep to receive is Cy Wareham and Jack Johnson. This one's going to be a squib up the middle, and it is fallen upon by number 7, that's Teak Wareham.
And it puts him in some nice field position. And granted, they didn't get that exciting play they were really looking for, but got him in some nice field position, especially with a quick little squib kick like that. And Genesee gets the ball again, and if they can build some momentum here, maybe they can cut into that 34-point lead.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 33-yard line, third quarter here. And Genesee is going to come out in a shotgun set. Cy Wareham and Jack Johnson in the gun. 2 receivers, 1 on either side. And it's going to be a quick slant route here to the near side of the field. That's number 33, Dalton McCann, with the reception. He's brought down by Colton McElroy of the Pirates.
Yeah, we've seen this play before, or at least this action before. Good secure catch by McCann. Good quick tackle by McElroy. But instead of going over the top, kind of an undercut, quick slant look, which kind of changes things up for Genesee, that instead of hitting them long, now they're hitting them short.
So 2nd and 5, gain of 5 there. Ball on the 38. Wareham in the gun. Quick snap. It's going to be a school body right. And this time, Prairie was ready for it. Genesee mixed in a lot of that throughout the first half, and there is a flag on the field. We'll see the call there. It's holding against Genesee, so that's compounded on top of the loss of yards. We saw Genesee try a lot of the school body right left, and it seems as though Prairie's starting to catch on.
Yeah, without a doubt. Reading those keys and getting ready for it. And this is the kind of stuff that Genesee doesn't want as far as getting some offensive momentum, because now you've been pushed back to now a 3rd and 10, and you're probably going to have to go back to the air.
Penalty is declined, so the ball will be spotted where the tackle was.
So the penalty is declined, according to the PA announcer. It's going to be 3rd and 10, as Jason just called. 3 down linemen for the Pirates, 3 backers over the top. They're just going to keep that going, and it's kind of tough for the Genesee offensive line to know who to block, because some will drop back into coverage, some will come in. And Cy Wareham has to, off his back foot, throw it over the top, and it's incomplete. The intended target was Nolan Bartos, and that's going to bring up 4th and 10.
Yeah, and once again, Shane Hansen's right in his face as he lets that go. And like you said, he's off his back foot, not really even just in the area pass, just don't sack me, and I don't hope it's intercepted as I let go. And be interesting to see if we see that punt already, given the down and distance.
So, yeah, 4th and 10, 11:08 to go here in the third quarter. 54-20 the score, and we'll see what the call is here from Coach Podrabski, first-year coach.
Sorry, Garrison, but with Cy being the punter and the quarterback, it kind of creates an interesting wrinkle that way because nobody's back.
This could be a punt here. We got trips to the near side of the field as Wareham drops back. They're going to go for it. It's a deep ball over the middle, and it is incomplete. And that was number 20, Brody Hasselstrom, on the coverage. He was battling Jack Johnson, the other running back from Genesee, and it was incomplete. Probably not the best thrown ball from Wareham, but he gave his guy a shot.
Yeah, he did, and we've seen that hit before, so that was a nice call as far as something that they've had where it's been successful, come back to it again. This time, Hasselstrom made the play and needed to.
Single back in the backfield for the Pirates as they take over in Genesee territory. Hasselstrom goes right up the middle, tries to get to the outside. He's inside the 20, inside the 15, and he's brought down from behind. We'll mark him at the 16. That was a group tackle between Bartos as well as number 7, Teak Wareham, and Hasselstrom has yet again another first down.
Yeah, nice piece of sportsmanship there by Cole Rebold, the defensive end, who's out there on the tackle as well, just helping him up, getting him back to the huddle. But like you said, they get a little momentum, and now it's all gone with that big first down.
And then they go to Thunder. This is number 1, Tayden Hibbard, who powers his way forward, and he gets close to the 5-yard line. So we're going to be looking at 2nd and goal at this point.
Jackson Murley, Cole Rebold, Teak Wareham there on the
it looks like they might have given him the first, but you're right. It's just one of those where you get those eyes, and that's about the time when we see Ross coming free from his tight end position.
So it is a 1st and goal here as Hasselstrom goes in motion, and now we've got a quarterback sneak up at the left side. He's in. Touchdown, and that was number 2, Lane Shoemaker, who found his way in the end zone.
Or he could go to that option. I just mentioned Ross, which you might see on this extra point, which we've seen him a number of times hitting it that way. But, yeah, Shoemaker just kind of following his blockers, following Hibbard and Hasselstrom as well as his blockers up front and gets the touchdown. But we do have a flag. I'm sorry. There was something in there that's pushing them all back, and maybe a holding. We're going to get a signal here from the white hat. Yep, holding. Naughty there, Prairie. So it's going to push them back a little bit, which maybe Ross gets his way anyway.
Touchdown is taken off the board with that penalty. So I formation look. Once again, they're going to pitch it to the left side, a one-handed snag from Hasselstrom as he gets to the far sideline. He's pushed out of bounds. Once again, they find themselves back inside the 5. So it's going to be 2nd and goal from the Genesee 6.
Yeah, just that sweet play to the outside. Everybody gets a block, and then you hope to outrace him. And then when he brings that shoulder pad with him, he's going to get a lot of yards on the sideline.
2nd and goal. And they're going to hand it to Hibbert right up the middle, who tries to dive for the end zone and gets close, but he's going to be spotted at about the 2.
Nice tackle there by Teak Wareham, who wraps up his legs. And that's what you got to do against a running back like Hibbert, where he's just going to chew you up if you don't. And he grabs them both and gets them down.
3rd and goal. Hasselstrom up the middle, and he walks in almost untouched. Another touchdown for Hasselstrom. I've lost count, frankly. And that makes the score 60-20 in favor of the Pirates. 2-point conversion pending.
On a 2-yard run.
And that's that Prairie machine. We talked about Genesee needing to get a little momentum, and that's all been washed away.
Single back look here. They fake it to Hasselstrom, and Shoemaker rolls to the right side, and it's caught for the 2-point conversion. That was Wyatt Ross, who was in the corner of the end zone. And now the score is 62-20, a 42-point cushion for the Pirates.
I knew that play was coming. I just called it a little too early. But it's one of those where, as Genesee would tell you, that you have so many weapons over there. You get a couple of them stopped, and they didn't necessarily have that happen, considering that Hasselstrom got powered into the end zone. But you just want to share the ball as well, and that time Ross had his extra point.
So Genesee will make their way onto the field for the kickoff, and the last time out they were able to pick up a 1st down here and there, but ultimately failed to keep the drive going on 4th down as they turned it over in their own territory. Prairie subsequently took that and eventually just punched it in just there. And that makes the score 62-20. Let's look ahead for Genesee, as Genesee will be taking on Kendrick next week. And Jason, that's kind of an interesting matchup. Genesee is a D1 school, Kendrick a D2 school, but a very talented D2 school.
Yeah, without a doubt, with lots of playoff potential. And we talked to Zane Hobart, their coach, and he was really looking forward to that Genesee matchup just because he knew that they would be able to battle with the big boys at the D1, and one of those where it kind of challenged them right before their playoffs.
And a little squib kick here goes right to Teak Wareham, who is hit from the far side and is brought down at the 45-yard line. So good starting field position for Genesee here as they'll take over at the 45, 1st and 10. But back to that Kendrick game, Genesee, that would wrap up their regular season here. They're about to fall to 5-2, barring a miracle here, and we certainly don't want to rule that out, but 6-2 certainly would still be a solid mark heading into playoff time.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's one of those where you kind of want to be challenged if you're Genesee with Kendrick, but they're the smaller school as Jack Johnson rips off a big touchdown right on cue that, hey, don't count us out. Don't talk about next week, this week. Hey, don't forget about us right here, where he just grabs it from the right-hand side of the formation, takes it through the hole and out the other end, and touchdown and big old train whistle from Genesee.
So Jack Johnson makes me eat my words a little bit here as he takes the ball 40-plus yards in for the score. And Genesee is hoping to tack that off with a 2-point conversion here and make it 62-28, pending the conversion here. 2 receivers in the set, 1 on each side. Johnson in the backfield next to Wareham. Wareham takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself, a QB keeper, and it's good. A 2-point conversion on the board for Genesee. Well, Jason, how about that drive there?
Well, and you talked about barring a miracle, and that's one of those things where we talked about in the first half where Podrapski's crew, his kids, are all going to be thinking, we're not going to give up, just taking on the culture of the coach. And Hasselstrom on the far side is thinking, guys, we've got to stay focused here. This could be a blowout. We could play some of our extras that we brought tonight. If you just keep the foot on the gas, you can't coast at all. And so just like we were doing with the broadcast, kind of coast a little bit, and all of a sudden, boom, answered right back.
And so suddenly, 62-28 the score. So we won't talk about next week for Genesee anymore, but let's look ahead for Prairie. We look at Prairie's schedule. They've got Genesee here right now. They've got them currently in a stranglehold, barring a miracle.
There you go. Cue it up, folks.
And they could finish next week against Troy. And, it's been a tough season for Troy, so a lot of people would, with these games certainly aren't played on paper, but Prairie's got to feel confident going into that one.
Yeah, that's Prairie's, looks like their senior night, as well as we talked about the playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. They should be a number 1 seed from our area, and that would mean that they would get a first week bye. And so this is one of those weeks where, again, they got to stay focused. They got to stay aggressive. They got to work out their kinks against Genesee because, again, Troy being where they are right now is going to be a team that they should have their way with. But definitely one of those where they're going to want to finish and polish off here tonight. And then they need to set their course to the playoffs, which Coach Hasselstrom knows better than I do for as many years as he's done. And I'm not saying he's old, but it's one of those where after 13 years and being in the playoffs deep, 7 out of the last 9 years, so, just an incredible amount of success on his part, multiple state championships. You got to have that balance between, okay, let's stay focused here and we got to work on the future.
And we have now entered running clock time. So the clock is going to continuously run here other than timeouts and a quarter, of course. Shoemaker had all the time in the world on that one, and he delivers a strike to the far side of the field, and that was caught by McElroy, who takes it close to the first down marker, pickup of 8. And that's going to bring up 2nd and 2.
Yeah, and I like that call. Genesee gets to call once you're down by 40 after halftime. Then it's a situation where the coach that's down gets to pick what he wants to have happen. Coach Podrapski is picking to allow the clock to run, but let's keep playing. Both of these teams are going to be playoff teams in a couple of weeks. Let's get the most out of this playing time and work out our kinks against quality opponents.
Tayden Hibbert goes to the far side, and he's brought down inside the 30 for another first down, and we've got some laundry on the field. Maybe there's another sorry to cut you off there, Jason, but maybe there's another criticism for Prairie has just been the amount of penalties we've been seeing here.
Yeah, and that's one of those where when you've been dominant and you have some dominance, sometimes you get a little lax, not with the coaching or any of that. It's just one of those things where they're gonna have to battle through some of those things, and it looked like it might have been holding on the other team. Shame. But one of those where Coach Hasselstrom's definitely going to want them to keep polishing their craft and get a little better at all aspects of their game.
In my defense, folks, the Prairie players were back there standing around the flag, so I just assumed, Wyatt Ross, the intended target on this one. He catches it, and it's a bubble screen, and he's able to pick up a couple of yards there, weaving his way through traffic, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 7. Jason, you and I were in the booth for Prairie's playoff run last season in the Kibbe Dome as they took on the eventual D1 1A state champions, Oakley. That was easily one of the best games I think we've ever covered.
Yeah, without a doubt. Super exciting. I think it finished 40-42. Prairie just ended just a smidge short, kind of a heartbreak there at the end. And really one of those situations where I think that's really gotten them focused for this year is Hasselstrom catches a pass over the middle, takes it to the far side, and shakes off the defender, which would have been Teak Wareham, and scores another touchdown, which would be another one for him and another for Shoemaker with a pass through the air. So, again, that offensive line from Prairie's not listening to this broadcast because they keep doing work.
Yeah, and that makes it 68-28 on the deep post route to Hasselstrom, who not only can he score on the ground, he can score through the air, and we've got encroachment as the flag on Genesee. And Prairie's just about to have another 70-point effort. This will be their second of the season. They've also had a couple of 60-point efforts. If there's one thing they know how to do at Prairie, it's that put up points. And there they go. There's that 2 points to make it 70-28 with 6:26 remaining in the third, and the clock will start rolling again after the kickoff. But talking about that Prairie versus Oakley game, you were right, 42-40. Prairie with the opportunity to go for the win, if I remember correctly. And Hasselstrom gets the handoff, fumbles it at the 1 yard line, and Oakley recovers.
Heartbreak. And not to make excuses for what that situation was, but they played the bulk of the season without their best player, and they lost one of their better players. I believe he was a White Pine League offense and defensive player from last year, even though he got injured late in that game. One of those where they were a little bit down or a little bit roster short, still putting up great effort and going toe-to-toe with the champion, and would have probably been the champion had a couple plays gone a little bit differently. And again, one of those where kind of moving forward on their behalf and trying to make things happen. And so yeah, I think it's one of those where Prairie's kind of got it poised to head back that way with the new playoff system, and we'll talk about that here in just a smidge after we have this kickoff. But after the playoff system, it kind of creates a new wrinkle for how teams can get in and what it's going to look like.
So we'll hold that thought there. 6:26 to go here in the third quarter as it's another squib kick up the middle here to Genesee as Cy Wareham takes it. He's at the 30. He looks for a hole. He's spun down from behind. Kind of landed awkwardly on that one, and he's going to hop back to his feet. And Jason, you were just touching on the new playoff format. Tell us what's kind of that shaping out to look like? What are some of the new wrinkles that are involved in that? What could we be seeing here?
Well, 10 seconds of a new wrinkle, too, is we have Eli Hines in there kicking off for Prairie. So they've kind of put some new people in there as well. So the 4 highest 1 seeds from the different regions of Idaho get an automatic bye the first round. And then the other teams, the other 8 playoff teams, so 12 make it in, they will be seeded by a ranking format, and then they'll play across the board. So it's not regional like it used to be a couple years ago, where it's truly a scrambled up. You might be traveling from this region all the way to the south, or the south coming all the way up here. A true playoff system, which I think really rewards the kids for doing a great job. And the best regions in the state get to protect their best teams instead of having to play each other out, and then they don't get deep into the playoffs. And so many times the White Pine League has had the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 best teams, and then all of a sudden they have to wash each other out in the first round or second round, and we don't get to see them in the championship game, which could easily happen down the road. So both of these teams will be playoff teams. So Prairie will sit the first week. Genesee will probably either host or be on the road because, again, it comes down to a ranking system. It's not really who you beat head-to-head necessarily. It could be how it looks from the voters.
Wareham back to pass, throws a quick out route to the near side of the field. It's incomplete. The intended target was Dalton McCann.
And 10 more seconds on that. That's why this is important for teams like Genesee, teams like Lapwai, to keep playing in the later half of the season, because it's important. You have the eyeball test, and that's true for all across the state where different teams can make their way in. You don't have to have a great record as long as you've been ranked well. So it's kind of an interesting format. It truly makes it so there's a true playoff format. So 12 out of the teams of the state make it in, and the best teams will make it to the finish.
So from your standpoint, Jason, as a former White Pine League coach, it sounds as though you're a fan of this new format. What does that look like to you on your end? Is this a positive, this new shakeup? Is the potential extra long travel as Wareham drops back to pass, throws up another punt throw, and this one is batted down. It looks like Prairie's kind of learned their lesson a little bit. But back to my question, it sounds as though you kind of like this new scrambled up playoff system.
I do. I love it. I think so many of those years, coaches like Hasselstrom and myself and many others, the ADs like Coach Travis Mader, I call him Coach because he used to be a coach, Mader from Prairie, and our AD Kelly Caldwell doing a nice job of trying to battle for our teams to stay in. Yes, you lose a couple of hours of instruction, this, that, and the other. I'm a social studies guy, so our kids don't generally head to the south. I mean, they may go to Boise, but rarely do they ever go to Idaho Falls or other places of this great state. And so to me, it's a poor man's field trip for us to be able to travel around. And again, if we get 4 teams in, which I think we could easily do, that allows both Prairie and Genesee here in front of us. We have Lapway, who will also be going, as we have another big strike over the top here. Heading to Teak, so it's Wareham to Wareham with the defenders trying to tackle him, and they do. As they sprawl out and get him. That's Ross getting Teak Wareham down on the 12, 13, 14-yard line and getting him stopped. Just to finish my point real quick, and then we'll shut up and get back to the game. That means that Lapway gets in and probably Potlatch or Kamei or potentially both. I mean, it just opens up a team, a league like ours. We used to call ourselves the SEC because we were so strong, and sometimes we'd beat ourselves up and not do very well because of the fact we'd done that. You look at basketball, you look at volleyball, our league represents themselves well all the way across the state, and it's really one of those things where it rewards a league like ours. So I'm super excited and jealous of this kind of system.
So 1st and 10 after the deep bomb over the top to that was, again, number 7, Teak Wareham, who's had himself a night. And Johnson takes the ball and runs it up for a gain of 4 on the play. It's going to bring up 2nd and 6. Under 2 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Running clock. If Genesee's able to punch it in here, it'll make it 70 to 34 or 36, depending on the 2-point conversion.
Well, and Genesee trying to shake things up here as far as play calls. We had the big bomb to Teak Wareham, and then we had Jack Johnson again. And again, Prairie has sprinkled in some new guys over there. We just saw a new kicker. We also see number 42, Carter Shears, at the nose guard spot.
Quick out there to number 33. That's once again Dalton McCann. He's the short pass yardage specialist, as it were, but he's also caught one of those deep bombs from Wareham for a touchdown.
Yeah, nice little, we've talked about Bartos, we talked about Wareham. It's good to have that third receiver that they can sprinkle in, and then that makes Jack Johnson over top over the middle as kind of a special.
So just under a minute now with this running clock. 3rd and 3, ball on the 9. And substitutions filtering in and out for the Bulldogs here as Wareham makes his way to the huddle. Prairie looking on. It looks as though they're going to be with their 3 and 3, 3 down linemen, 3 backers over the top, and then man-to-man on the outside. Wareham in the gun with Johnson flanking his right. Motion from the far side. That's number 3, Grant Wolf. And Wareham's going to keep it himself. Spins forward, hit hard near the goal line, and he falls forward. We'll see where they spot this.
Yeah, nice job trying to battle and twist and turn for yards. But that defense from Prairie was standing there waiting and kind of set up their own little Prairie wall.
Looks as though there's a flag on the far side of the field. See what the call is here as the official discusses this. And that is the end of the quarter, and we'll wait to see what the call is. Face mask is the call against Prairie, so that's going to give excellent position here for Genesee to maybe punch this into the end zone as we head to the 4th quarter. And, Jason, we'll just keep it right here. So looking back at this potential playoff setup here, I mean, as you mentioned, we look at Prairie; they're about to be 6-0. Genesee 5-2, but in Lapway likely to move to 5-2 tomorrow as they take on a Logos team who did just pick up a win against Troy, so they moved to 2-5 on the season. But Logos still young, inexperienced, still kind of learning their way through the White Pine. Eventually, could be a force. But Lapway, we should have a 6-0 Prairie and then 2 5-2 teams under them.
Yeah, and Lapway would have the head-to-head tie. And again, it comes down to a little bit more of a ranking system than that, but I would assume that the voters would have the ability to kind of pick through that, and you'd see a little bit of a flip-flop there. And how that works is you get the bracketing in the first round, and then you're re-bracketed and reshuffled. And so how you are totally just kind of randomly makes it so you could match up against each other again in the second round regionally, or you could be spread out regionally, which would allow again those White Pine League teams to stay in the bracket longer.
So first and goal, Wareham rolls right. It's a nice pass play, but it's incomplete, just off the hands of Nolan Bartos.
Yeah, that was a nice little rollout look by him. Gives him that run-pass option. Again, Prairie's kind of sprinkled in some new faces in there, as well as having that defensive attitude of, we really don't want you to score. I don't care what the time is or what the score is.
So it's going to be second and goal, ball in the 2. And Genesee knocking on the door here. They come out in a shotgun set. 3 receivers in the set, 2 on the far side, 1 on the near side. Jack Johnson next to Cy Wareham on his right side. They're going to fake the handoff. Wareham keeps it himself, fights forward, and he's in. Touchdown, Genesee.
That's a good thing that Cy Wareham's like 6'3", 6'4", because by the time he stretched that ball out, it was barely across. And so excellent push and fight by that young man.
So Wareham makes his way to the sideline to get the play call. Checking in for Genesee is number 14, Jack Zenner, the senior tight end and defensive end.
Yep, Jackson Zenner had 3 touchdowns last week. He hadn't scored, I don't believe, in his high school career, and then all of a sudden he gets a whole bunch of them. I'm sure he'd like one tonight on senior night.
Yep, fantasy owners are definitely keeping an eye on that as we move forward, especially in those dynasty leagues. We're talking about future potential here.
That's right. That's right. That's where the money's made.
So 1 wide receiver on either side. Bartos on the near side, and then on the far side we have McCann. Man-to-man on the outside. Wareham and Johnson in the backfield in the gun. And maybe some miscommunication there as Wareham rolls right. He's pressured by the entire defense. It's into the end zone and nearly caught. Bartos once again had a shot at that one, but he was being pressured by Wyatt Ross as he went up for that.
Yeah, he was definitely one of those where it was a Hail Mary kind of pass, and you had 2 blue shirts down there. Jack Johnson didn't try and fight it away from Nolan Bartos. Bartos nearly had it in his hands, nearly had it between his knees, nearly had it between his feet, and it ended up on the grass.
So one thing that, Jason, I'm sure you'll appreciate, as we're going to just discuss here, is one thing we should touch on is the absolute dominance from the line of scrimmage standpoint for Prairie. They have really controlled that side of things, and it's really made it hard for Genesee to get a consistent rhythm on offense as they're always being pressured in the backfield.
Yeah, that's the fastest way to get your playmakers not to be able to make plays is when you have a great offense and defensive line like Prairie has, and that's sustained over lots of hours of work in the weight room, lots of hours of practice, guys taking pride in their craft, and that's really where the championships are going to be made anyway, simply because of the fact that guys like Shane Hansen and Beeler and Cronin, who just do a great job of pushing that offense and defensive lines around by the whole White Pine League. I mean, they've taken everybody's best shot, and I bet you if you looked at all of their game tapes, this is pretty much what it looks like every week.
So 70-34 now. It's a 26-point lead for Prairie. So Genesee is slowly but surely cut into it. It just doesn't seem as though they're going to have enough time, especially given that Prairie, well, they're about to get the ball back on offense. 11:01 to go here in the fourth quarter. Waiting for the all-clear signal, and we are set to kick as Wareham approaches the ball, and it is a little onside kick, and that was a good onside attempt there, but it is swallowed up by the sure-handed Chase Cashmitter.
Yeah, nice job by Cashmitter. You're up there up front. You have a whole bunch of blue shirts coming. Just get the ball, get down, and get the ball to your playmakers. I like to call, you asked early in the game if it was time for an onside kick. Now it might be a little bit late, but I still like the idea of just let's see what happens. And, again, putting your guys in a position to to make some plays and get ready for the playoffs in a couple weeks.
And now the clock is rolling once again as we head to under 10.5 minutes here. Offset I formation in the backfield for the Pirates. Genesee, everybody's in the box. And they're going to hand it to Hibbard. Hibbard gets to the far side. He's got one man in front of him. That is Bartos, and Bartos can't hang on. Hibbard's gone. Touchdown, Pirates.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't say Hibbard's name in a couple of plays and a couple of series, and all of a sudden, boom, he's gone, shot off like a rocket. You know, that again, that thunder and lightning. Lightning definitely struck right there.
That it did, and suddenly it's 76-34. I mentioned how Prairie or Genesee had slowly been crawling their way back into it, and Prairie slamming the door on that. As now they get ready for a 2-point conversion try. They've been incredibly efficient on their 2-point conversions here. We'll see if that trend continues. 2 wide receivers to the far side of the field, or excuse me, the near side, but they're just going to hand it up the middle to Hasselstrom, and that's almost a guarantee at this point. And he once again is in for 2, and it's 78-34.
Right, rumbles, bumbles, and bounces his way into the 2-point land, and kind of walks his way back to the huddle and gets a high five from his dad / coach.
Yeah, exactly. If I could describe Hasselstrom, that would just be the human wrecking ball. It reminds me of Mike Tolbert from the Carolina Panthers. That guy was a literal cannonball, and when they handed the ball off to him, you really had to go low in order to try to tackle that guy, and that's what I see out of Hasselstrom, which is why he's definitely getting interest at the college level.
That's right. Well, and again, it just kind of shows all of the work and all of the time that he spent working on that craft.
So 78-34, 9:23 to go. The clock is stopped at this point in time just because we're having a change of possession, but once Genesee takes over, it'll start running again. And Prairie makes their way onto the field. They will be kicking this one off from the 40. Genesee back deep to receive. Jack Johnson and Cy Wareham. Those two have had a solid game today. It just hasn't been enough. And, had Genesee maybe responded better early on, maybe this would have been a different game. But, of course, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We could play that all day.
Set to kick off for the Pirates.
Wyatt sends a squib right down the middle. Bounces over Johnson, but he's able to adjust and come back to it. Catches it and runs up to the 30, and he's brought down at the 31, we'll call it, and he's brought down by number 23, Chase Cashmitter.
Nice job again by Cashmitter. We talked about him on the kick return for a short gain. Just fall on it. Now he does his work here on the kickoff team, getting a good quick tackle.
9 minutes and rolling now. Clock started. 1st and 10, ball from the 30. We'll see what Genesee comes up with here as Cy Wareham, the quarterback, makes his way to the huddle.
Well, and I was just going to say, too, now we're starting to see even a couple other guys sprinkled in here on defense, and that's where Coach Hasselstrom does a lot of work, just getting his guys ready. There, it's a Friday night. You're playing against a varsity, and that attitude of we're not going to let them score no matter what is leaking into next year as well.
And there's a fumble in the backfield, and Prairie's on it. That was a miscue on the handoff, and Prairie pounces.
And right on cue, that would be Cashmitter. We've been talking about him trying to be player of the game for sure, making work on special teams, so offense and defense, and then he gets the fumble recovery. And again, just that attitude of just being a good sport, obviously, but also wanting to be dominant on the offense and defensive lines.
And you know who else we might want to throw in for a player of the game competition would be Shane Hansen. He just absolutely controlled both lines of scrimmage as Hasselstrom takes a pitch to the right side. He cuts all the way back across the field, and he could be gone. He is. Touchdown, Brody Hasselstrom. He's got to be approaching 10 touchdowns on the day. I mean, this is unreal.
Yeah, and that's one of those where who were you going to pick as the player of the game?
Sorry, Hasselstrom, our mistake.
Oh, shoot.
What just happened there, folks, was he took the ball from the 40, ran to the one side of the field on the far side, and then when he saw that was closed off, he decided, well, I'm just going to cut it all the way back and take it 40 yards for the touchdown, and that's what he did. And now we're going for the 2-point conversion. It's a handoff up the middle to number 5. This is the sophomore, Trenton Lawrence, but he ran into a wall of blue there. Genesee closed the door on the 2-point conversion, but nonetheless, it's 84-34 after the touchdown from Hasselstrom.
Well, and how about that? Lawrence kind of showed already his speed, but also that whole concept of, okay, 2022, some of those guys are going to have to step into some of these big shoes, and Lawrence is saying, please consider me, coach. You know, and I was just going to say with your 40-yard run by Hasselstrom, which Hibbard just went pretty much direct north-south for 55 for 55, but Hasselstrom probably ran 65 yards to pick up that 40-yard touchdown, just simply because he went to the top of the screen, or the far side, sorry, I'm normally the filmer, goes to the far side, back to the near side, cuts a little bit through the middle, and ends up running a whole bunch of yards to pick up the 40. And I probably could have started on the 20, and he'd have beat me there.
He is just one of those kinds of players, which is why he's been I'm not sure if he's committed to a college, but I know back when he was on the Palouse Prepcast with Brandon Bainey while I was off at a conference in Tennessee, he had just gotten back from a visit to the College of Idaho, the Yotes. So we're certainly pursuing him with interest. And you know, a couple other Prairie players have gone to the College of Idaho, so we've got a mini pipeline, if you will, to that school, and certainly have a decent football program down south. And potentially Hasselstrom will be adding to that list. As Prairie set to kick off once again with 7-11. Not the gas station, that's what's left in the fourth quarter. And it's a low line drive, and this one bounces to number 80, Wyatt Jordan, who takes it. Bullies his way up the middle and is cut down at the 45-yard line, but a good return there from Jordan. And Genesee will take over at the 45-yard line, and the clock resumes running here with a 84-34 lead in favor of Prairie. A lot of players cycling in and out on Prairie side of things. Same with Genesee. Jason, as you and I have been talking about, this is just an opportunity for more guys to get some experience here as we look at the weeks ahead.
Yeah, it's both playoff teams as well as, you know, it's Friday Night Lights, and some of those guys that don't normally get to play. Genesee doesn't have a JV, and so for some of the younger Prairie guys and younger Genesee guys to get out here and make some plays on Friday. Speaking of Jack Johnson going north-south, all of a sudden he busts his way, bullies his way, gets past Ross, takes it back and forth. Again, we're just going to see how many points we can put on this little scoreboard you got going on here as he gets north-south for a big old 55-yard touchdown.
My gosh, I look away at my notes for 5 seconds, and Jack Johnson takes it the distance, and they put more points on the board as Genesee now hits 40. I mean, even on a losing effort, 40 points on offense is nothing to sneeze at.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of those where as you look at Coach House from across the way, kind of shrugging his shoulders, scratching his brow there a little bit, waving his papers around, going, "Please, what the heck, guys? 40 points, and we're the, kind of that keep your focus." You kind of want to sprinkle some young guys in there. You want to have that big L attitude, but at the same time, Jack Johnson's a playmaker, and he gets to the promised land.
Absolutely. Genesee has athletes of their own on that side of the field, and they're making their presence felt in this game. 6:15 to go. And the 2-point conversion. Johnson next to Wareham. He's going to shuffle over to the left side. 2 receivers in the set. Pressure being shown from the Pirates. Wareham takes snap, rolls left, and looks across back the formation. Excellent little trick play there as Johnson was standing in as though he was going to be a blocker, but then leaked out to the far side of the field for the 2.
Again, one of those important plays down the road, especially when you're not playing guys you played before. What can we install and add as wrinkles so that way we can see if it works and then use it in 3 or 4 weeks so that way you can use it when you need it.
So 84-42 the score. And Genesee will get set for the kickoff here. But, Jason, you and I are double dipping this weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to be back in Moscow to take a look at the visiting Lapway Wildcats as they visit for the first time the Logos Knights. And this will be our 3rd trip to Logos as we started the season out, actually, for Logos versus Timberline. and then Logos versus Clearwater Valley, and now we're going to wrap things up with Logos versus Lapwai. Jason, what are kind of your initial thoughts of that matchup?
Well, I think it's cool that we're both going to start the season rather at Logos, and then this, even though it's our third time up there, our first time under the lights because we've kind of been in the afternoons, and so that'll be kind of fun to see what that experience is like up there. And, I think it's going to be one of those. Coach Holloway's been doing a great job at Logos getting his guys better, and they have Lewis County, which is a very winnable game, their last game of the season. So it's one of those where they can keep building. And again, you want to move up in the ranks. You got to play with the big boys, and this is just where they were, kind of get a foundation piece of where they are as we get to kick off by Cy Wareham as it trickles down here to number 45 from Prairie, which would be Noah Geis. And he gets a nice little gain there with but back to that, we'd be remiss. The hamburgers we get at Logos has got to be league-wide the best, and that's no cut into Prairie, who always feeds us when we go up there. We just haven't been up there in a little while. So
that's right. I blame Paul for not scheduling us to go to Prairie.
I know. Well, and I'm thinking, yes, I want to go up and see a great game, and I want to see Logos under the lights, but really I might be there for the hamburger.
That's right. No offense, Logos. From Lapwai's side of things, for Logos, it's been a bit of a rough season, but it was kind of to be expected. Their first time in the White Pine varsity side of things, and they got a taste of it. They've picked up a couple of wins. They beat Troy last week, so they're certainly heading in the right direction. But this game is incredibly important for Lapwai, especially when we're talking playoffs here.
Yeah, without a doubt. They're going to have some stuff to play for, as well as Lapwai still has Potlatch to play, which is, again, one of those bubble teams within the White Pine League to make it into the playoffs. And so, yeah, Lapwai's going to want to figure some things out. They just coming off the Prairie loss, rather, so they're going to want to work out some kinks and get some things right before they head into the playoffs, as we get a big burst here by the running back from Prairie, which would be number 6, which is Hines, which we've seen him in as a kicker. Now all of a sudden he's running the ball here a little bit. And I was also going to say real quick that, yes, Logos has kind of fixed some things as well. They've been scoring points, just obviously not enough as their opponents, but they've had points as 58, 28, 24, 44, and then last week they had 66. So they're slowly getting things figured out. And again, they're playing in a tough league, and Coach Holloway would be the first one to tell you is that we just got to figure things out and get better every week.
Yeah, and certainly, he and I talked a little bit after church, actually, about Logos's future prospects, and an incomplete pass there. That was a deep post route to number 5, Trenton Lawrence, and the quarterback who threw that one was actually number 21, Colton McElroy, not to be confused with Alabama's McElroy.
Yeah. Nice job by McElroy real quick right there, just to put the ball right where he needed to be. And, again, that's just that paying it forward and getting ready for the next year. I mean, obviously seniors got work to do this year, but Coach Hasselstrom wants to make sure that there's more on the shelf, and that definitely shows tonight.
It certainly looks like they're prepared. Doomsday preppers. So just over 3 minutes, running clock here, 84-42. All the starters are off the field for Prairie. And Genesee still has a couple on. Wrap this up as Lawrence tries to get to outside on the far side of the field, and he's brought down by a whole host of Bulldogs, and that looks like it's going to be a turnover on down. So a good stop there from Genesee, and they'll take over inside of Prairie territory.
Yeah, nice little tackle there. It looked like number 80, Wyatt Jordan from Genesee, grabbed a hold of Lawrence's Superman cape and hung on for dear life and got him stopped before he got to the first down when he ran outside on the far side.
So 2:45 and counting. Genesee will take over, and maybe they have a chance to put some more points on the board before the end of the game. Practice some offensive sets here against a solid defensive team here in Prairie. Ball on the 26, 1st and 10. 3 receivers on the set. Bartos and Wareham to the near side. Wareham goes in motion to the far side. And they're going to hand it off to Johnson, who has been the workhorse today as far as touchdowns are concerned. Johnson, he hasn't really carried the ball that much simply because Prairie's just been so dominant up front.
Yeah, if they can get him stopped, he doesn't get much, but then when he gets through a crease, he's gone for a touchdown. Kind of limits his touches that way.
2nd and 8 to gain of 2 there. Checking in is Jackson Zenner for Genesee, and Wareham makes his way back to the huddle. Prairie waiting in the wings. And for tomorrow's broadcast, Jason and I will kind of have a stand-in while Jason is going to be running a little bit behind for the broadcast. And so it'll be a Hardy broadcast, the Hardy Boys broadcast, until Jason can make it there. Greg Hardy will be on the camera.
So you're already telling him it might be a little shaky or more steady. I'm not sure if I should be complimented or offended at this.
Well, hey, volleyball happens. I get it.
That's right. You were talking the other day with the Prepcast that there's so many sports going on in Idaho again, which is awesome. Moscow, we have a player from Genesee who plays for the Moscow team who just qualified for state in soccer, and we have the volleyball tournaments here locally. The White Pine League will be starting their volleyball tournaments, and so that's going to get ripping and roaring. And so, as a dad of a volleyball player, I'll be off hooting and hollering for the Bulldogs as we see another touchdown.
Touchdown Bulldogs.
Deep ball over the top.
Cy Wareham to his brother Teak Wareham. The Wareham to Wareham connection. It seems as though Genesee's on to something with that.
That's right, and it's really one of those where it's similar look. We've talked about how they're spread out wide and they just kind of work their way over the middle, and the defender out there, was in near right position, but just was a step shy, and we've talked about that, and he's a little grumped up at himself, but it's one of those where, those guys are out there against some varsity starters as well, so they're just trying to learn as well. So, again, going to make the most of this playing time and check out that scoreboard.
And here's the 2-point conversion attempt. They hand it to Teak Wareham, who's got the far side of the field, and it looks like he's in. He is. 2-point conversion is good. So if it's any consolation, Genesee just hit 50 on the night.
Well, and that's one of those where Hasselstrom is excited about the win, but at the same time, it's one of those where it's a head-scratcher where I know you had some subs in and this, that, and the other, but again, the focus, the fact that you want to be contending with the big boys. If you look at the Week 8 coaches poll, you have Oakley, Raft River, Prairie, Butte County, Lapwai. Those are the top 5 teams. In the media poll, it's Oakley, Prairie, Raft River, Butte County, Notice. And so Prairie is near the top, and you want to keep that focus. Sometimes kids get to read clippings, and it gets a little bit amiss. And so he's going to want to make sure, Coach Hasselstrom is going to want to make sure that they need to keep their nose to the grindstone and fix some of those things and
get things ready for the winter.
Get going forward as they head into the playoffs.
Yeah, normally when you see 50 points on the board, that's enough to win a game. Not the case when you run into the buzzsaw that is Prairie, and Prairie's going to keep this thing rolling as Genesee is set to kick off here, and the clock will start soon after, and it will not stop. 34 seconds left. Wareham sends this deep into the night sky, and it's balls at the 30. This is Lawrence, 35, and he's brought down finally. And that's going to do it pretty much as both teams make their way onto the field, and the clock is down under 20. And it looks as though the teams are just going to let it roll at this point. Well, that's going to do it, folks. Prairie with a dominating performance tonight, 84-50 over Genesee. Prairie moves to 6-0 on the season as they have their eyes on the prize, the playoffs, and ultimately the championship, the state championship. And the Genesee, a disappointing outing for them, but still a 5-2 season record. Jason and I are going to step away for just a moment here, but we'll be right back here on IdahoSports.com to give you our player of the game. Stay tuned.
Have a great weekend. Good luck to our volleyball team in the district tournament, and we will see you tomorrow.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Things just got wrapped up here in Genesee as the Prairie Pirates come into town and take down the Bulldogs 84-50. Jason, this is a game, two teams that have a lot of history between each other, and this is another notch in the win column for Prairie.
Yeah, it's one of those where they showed their experience, they showed their capability. They started off with a big lead, and then they flexed muscle as they went along. They would take some shots, but they also gave as many shots as they were taking for sure. And they have a couple of things to work on, especially the deep ball pass and this, that, and the other. But for the most part, Coach Hallstrom's got to be happy with the fact that he gets out of here with a big win against a playoff team, and definitely one of those last big tests you have before you head on the playoffs yourself.
And if we're talking positives for both teams here, I mean, for Genesee, they started in a 38-0 hole, and then they lose by 34. You'd never want to lose by 34, but still, to fight back the way they did and put 50 points on the board in this loss, there's got to be some good things that Genesee can take away from this too.
Yeah, Coach Podrabski, this is his first year. Last year, Genesee was by rights a playoff team, but because of COVID got cut short and weren't able to keep playing. And so it's really one of those where it's been a while since they've been in this position, and Coach Podrabski's doing a great job of not just building to here, but keep on building. And there's a lot of things that they did really well tonight against a great Prairie team. I mean, we're talking about them being a championship game kind of team, and so it's one of those where if you can do those plays against that kind of team, and if you could fix some of the other things that weren't going right tonight, that really bodes well for the future.
So we always do this. We talk about the player at the IdahoSports.com player of the game, but before we do that, let's start with Genesee. I'll take these guys as far as some of the players.
I might be a little biased.
Yeah, we got to keep it fair here on Idaho Sports. We just lost our mics and stuff for a second there, but everything came back on. So we're still good, I think.
Okay.
But basically, as far as the players that jump out for Genesee, you got to start with Jack Johnson, the running back. He had a handful of touchdowns. He's one of those guys that if he hits a crease of open field, he's gone, and we saw that numerous times tonight. How about Cy Wareham stepping in at quarterback after Jordan? They cycled him in and out. Wareham came in and threw a handful of touchdowns in his own right. Some of them were more like punts, but nonetheless, they count. His receivers for going up and making big catches deep downfield. But all in all, Jack Johnson, he really came to play today for Genesee, and of course, give credit to Cy Wareham. But Jason, the player of the game's got to come from the winning team. Before you jump to the player of the game, who are the guys you like over on Prairie side? There's a lot to like.
I was going to say, I've been circling guys as we went through this, and there's got to be a boat ton here. We have Lane Shoemaker, who in his own right, quarterback, played some defense, had a pick, had an important couple of plays in there, came back in at quarterback, threw a bunch of touchdowns himself, ran a couple of touchdowns. And so it's really one of those where you have that going on. You have the offensive line of Beeler, Hansen, and Cronin. I would pick Hansen, but it's really one of those where that might be a little biased. We are not relation, as Forrest Gump would say. But at the same time, that offensive line is doing a massive amount of work for Thunder and Lightning. And how about Lightning? We're looking over here. Everybody's putting some stuff away. Genesee's over in their huddle, kind of getting things set up for what they want to do heading forward. They're dumping the ice buckets. And we have Hibbard and Hasselstrom out there talking to the paper. And how about old Hibbard out there? Just lightning strike, touchdown after touchdown, big-time defensive plays, rather, where he would get Cy Wareham down in solo tackle after solo tackle, and they'd get a little momentum, and he'd just take it away. But, every Lightning has to have a little thunder, and how about Hasselstrom just bringing the shoulder pads with him? We talked about it in that one play where he must have ran 65, 70 yards to make a 40-yard touchdown. And a number of times on defense, just laying some thunder on some running backs. He didn't always catch Jack Johnson, but when he did, man, it was some big-time power. So our Idaho Sports player of the game is Brody Hasselstrom. I don't care what Coach Hasselstrom says. We picked your kid. And great job by that young man. And he would be one, I bet you would tell that it takes a team to play this sport. It's not a track. It's not where you get to do one thing and everybody kind of hangs on to coattails. He needs his offensive line and his quarterback and his lightning to be with him, and everybody to play some defense too. So Brody Hasselstrom, player of the game here in Genesee.
And with how many touchdowns he had, I suppose that's not much of a surprise. But Hasselstrom and the Pirates come out on top in this one, 84-50. A dominant performance from end to end for the Pirates as they continue on their march to the playoffs and ultimately, if they have it their way, a championship. And they certainly maybe want some revenge on Oakley along the way if they're able to run into them down the road. In any case, Prairie improves to 6-0. Genesee falls to 5-2. We'll be back in the booth tomorrow, or in the stands rather tomorrow, for Lapway versus Logos here on IdahoSports.com. And my partner in crime, Jason, and I will be bringing that to you on IdahoSports.com from District 2.